Welcome to the Sci-Fi Center, the place to be, where comic books and wrestling collide magically. Movies, TV shows, and pop culture we share. Get ready to rock, we're here to take you there. From superheroes to aliens in outer space, we've got the latest news and reviews in our embrace. Turn on your screen, let the neon lights glow. We'll take you back to the 80s. Let's rock and roll. Sci-Fi Center, where the legends come alive. Get ready to geek out, let your imagination fly. We're diving into the past with a touch of modern flair. Sci-Fi Center, the ultimate pop culture lair. Come on down and get your geek a gift at the Sci-Fi Center. We got almost everything a geek could want at the Sci-Fi Center. You name it, we got it. Star Trek, Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and everything in between at the Sci-Fi Center.
Good Afternoon, happy Saturday. Sorry for the lateness, but it's Saturday and we got a lot going on around the plaza today. And I'm having constant walkthrough and dealing with customers. So right now I have a break in between those said customers, and hopefully Brad will be along because I'm going to have him get us started. We are here to raise uh, revenue. We are here to make. Oh, who's this? Hold on. Maybe that's somebody. I always have to respond to my message because it may be something technically wrong. Um, yeah. So, like I said, we always Saturdays are always tough to do these, but this is for charity. We're here today to get us closer to our $20,000 goal for American Foundation Suicide Prevention. The link is tied to the top of the chat. So you can spread that link. If you cannot donate today, that's okay. If you can put our cause in the front of someone else who can, that is how we made a lot of the money for the cause that we did last time. Not everybody could donate, but they could put it in front of somebody who could. So that helps. Sharing, liking, subscribing, all that stuff helps the cause. Today we are going to be watching Batman versus Superman. Something's wrong with my chat because it's all screwed up. So good. If you guys are typing right now, I'm getting it delayed, just to let you know. We are going to watch Batman versus Superman. If you are a member of the Patreon, your link to co-host with us is there. You just got to go and click on it, and it'll lead you right to us. Some of you have received links through other means. So we are going to get started here pretty soon. Hold on for a second. Like I said, sorry for the interruptions today, but I'm literally in the middle of a retail location trying to pull this off. Sorry. All right, here we go. So, all right, so I am going to go ahead and pull up the overall progress we are at. I still got the Zack Snyder's Justice League thing up there, so I haven't changed the picture out, but that's fine. So I'm going to log into here. And right now, as of now, we are $3,800 away from $20,000. So anything that can help us get there. I mean, we're not gonna make it today. I mean, I don't have, unless somebody comes in with some deep pockets. But at the same time, I think we can make some progress, more than we made last week. And so we are going to bring up. And then there's our dashboard. There's us right now. We are at 16,420 raised due to campaigns. Our average campaign is $7,950. That's going to climb because of the fact that we're going to hopefully beat our goal. But the link is in the chat if you would like to donate. We are going to get this started probably. I'm trying to hold out for Brad because I really, like I said, I don't want to start you guys off and then have to go, back and forth. As far as like having somebody come through the door, because I do have some people coming up the stairs right now. So, all right. So yeah, that's where we're at. We're currently at this particular part of the campaign. We are $920 in. We have $3,850 away from our goal. Actually, less than that. Hold on. What's the 3,850 minus 920, $2,930 away from our goal. So there you go. Keep giving you guys a wrong number. All right, and just all right. So we're going to start at 0. And I'm going to go ahead and get us started because this is a 3-hour movie. So I can't kind of wait for Brad. I'm going to go ahead and get us started. It's 3 hours and 2 minutes. So here we go. We are starting at 0. Right now, you should be at the HBO logo with all the lights. And here we go: Batman versus Superman extended cut. We're going with the Ultimate Edition for those of you who are asking, and I am watching this on HBO Max. All right, 3, 2, 1, and here we go. What's going on, Seth? How are you?
What's up?
What's going on here? Always love the way this movie opens up.
I actually feel almost human again.
I'm glad to hear you're feeling better. I was going to ask. I was going to text you today to see how you're feeling.
So why do you like this movie so much as a superhero movie?
I think it captures the tone of both Batman and Superman, the way they were designed to be, the way they would be if you could superimpose both individuals on the modern world. Superman would be looked on as a god by some and would be feared by the rest. Batman would be the product of his environment, the cynicism of his environment that he had spent 20 years in. He comes off as somebody who started out with admirable intentions, but then basically had his psyche be leveled out by all the corruption and everything around him. And he needs to get back to what first started him as Batman. And if you have anybody who's ever had a chance to read some of the comics, that's the core of what the struggle that what Batman is, he gets to a point to where is any of this worth it when you still have the corruption, you still have, the people. It's like a game of whack-a-mole to where, he's starting to question himself. And then this movie brings everything back full circle to where he realizes that it is worth doing, that he is making a difference, that he does mean something. And it takes Superman to help him with that. So there's a lot that's covered in this movie, but I think in all my years of reading comics, I don't think there's too many movies that capture the tone of the characters perfectly as Batman versus Superman does.
Well, now that you mention it, I think the Batman kind of falls that same tone too.
The Batman, I think, is the best overall Batman movie made. It is the most complete Batman movie as far as like how it captures the essence of Batman. Robert Pattinson isn't my favorite actor to play Batman, but he has played in the most complete movie. He did his part. I love the Batman. I hope we get a sequel sooner than later.
I mean, because even the Batman at the beginning, when he was doing his soliloquy, he was saying, "Am I making a difference? Everything's still up, but I'm still here, fighting the crime. But crime's up. This is up. This is up. What am I doing?"
Yeah, and that's a constant struggle with Batman is, he put on all this stuff because of what he went through, and he didn't want anybody else to go through that. And so he's fighting that, and also fighting the fact that he's only one guy. It's kind of the same thing that Daredevil has to confront every time. And with Daredevil, they do it differently. Daredevil eventually involves the community that he's in. He lets them know that I can fight, I can do the kung fu, I can do the fighting, I can take on one baddie at a time. But you, as a community, have to want things to get better for anything that I do to matter. And that's where Daredevil and Batman are being written the best, is when the people who live in the seedy parts of Gotham or Hell's Kitchen realize that you can't just let one guy do the fighting for you. You have to want something better, or guys like the Kingpin, or guys like that will just come in and take advantage of your suffering. All right, guys. Just remember why we're watching this. We all see, well, most of us have seen this movie a bunch of times. This is a gathering point to raise the remaining funds that we are donating to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. Right now, I have to give you an adjusted total. The adjusted total that we are looking for to get to 20,000 raised is $2,930. So if we get that, that'll put us over 20 grand.
Who gave us the last donation?
No, I was just off. My count was wrong.
Okay.
Yeah, we needed a total. Actually, you know what? My count is still wrong. 3850 is the right one, because I adjusted it because we didn't need to put 5,000 up there, because that would have been over 20,000. So what we have right now, 3850 is the goal. But yeah, that's right. Yeah, 20. If we get 2,900 more, we're good. I had it at 500 or 5,000.
So you guys give me a timestamp?
Yeah, we are at 1536.
Yeah, sorry, just had another, had kind of an early Saturday over at the school with the makeup. That's what I was helping out with. Just came home, crashed at about 2.
Still using the string and cups, Brad?
I'm gonna get my laptop out in a little bit here. I want to charge up the battery on that real quick, but I'm gonna plug it in. But I did want to get my battery kind of squared away after that too, so I'll do that in a little bit.
Are you using a waterfall mill to generate your electricity for it and stuff?
So we're right at when the drone is flying in right now.
Yeah.
Okay, let's make sure I was at the right spot. And the one dude is flipping off the guy, the drone. Aaron has one right here, William.
Yeah, if you could. I got to get connected on this one's not connected to Blue Sky.
And yes, please like and subscribe, everybody watching right now. I remember seeing this in the theater. It's like, oh, this is how you do a Superman entrance right here. This is how you do a damn Superman entrance.
Was that a thunderstorm or something?
Nah, that's just a bunch of wind that just kicked up. Goodness.
This woman, she's definitely one of the big additions of the Ultimate Edition. Because this is, I mean, the woman from Nairobi testifying before Congress. I mean, this is in the theatrical cut. This is pretty much her only scene. So, her being part of the whole subplot in the Ultimate Edition, it's like that is one of the ways where it's like, oh, that made it, the whole different experience.
Yeah, I didn't feel it.
You didn't think so?
I remember watching this. I just was like, there's a lot of stuff that got cut out of this movie, and I know a lot of people are like, if you watch the Ultimate Edition, that's the one that you should release. And I've watched them both, and I love this edition. Don't get me wrong, but I didn't feel lacking when I left BBS out of the theater.
Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm not
Yeah.
saying I felt like it was lacking. It was, but it's. I'm talking about like in terms of like just the material that the extra 30 minutes adds. Like she was again, that was her only scene right there in the theatrical cut.
Yeah. Do you think that the ultimate significance as far as the content of the movie goes? What on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you give the significance of the differences between the Ultimate Edition and the one that was released theatrical?
It's I don't know if I'd give a numeric value necessarily. But it's enough to where it's like this has been the movie for me ever since I saw it, basically. Or it's like, I mean, this has been the version I watched every time. Which again, it's like I don't throw the old theatrical version under the bus by any means. I mean, I still stand by my very positive feelings I had coming out of it, when I first saw it. But
dude, I felt electric coming out of this movie.
Oh, man. Hell yeah, I did. But it's like I felt electric, but it felt like electric coming out of the theatrical cut, and then like I don't know, like what's like electric squared coming out of the Ultimate Edition, maybe.
Well, nuclear. But when I watched this version of it, I was like, oh, okay. I had that kind of feeling. but I didn't feel like I was robbed as much as a lot of other people were when I saw of the original one.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, I mean that's Justice League where you feel robbed. You know?
Well, that was just outright carjacked. You just got
that exactly. This was I mean this is a more kind of traditional director's cut. Even if it is like 30 minutes, it's still a little bit unusual as far as like what it adds back into it. But and like the other things it adds, like the whole thing about Lex like arranging for the prisoners to get, you know, but the brand to get killed, and you know, just little things that adds to like kind of set up like how he's sort of how his sort of plotting to get the two of them to fight comes out. But
Worth says 8 out of 10. For me, if I had to give it a rating, I'd say 5. 5 out of 10. This is a superior edition. Don't get me wrong, but it's like with the difference between Zack Snyder's Justice League and the 2017 is like completely. Even though the premise of the story is the same, the lacking of Darkseid and the fourth world characters and you know the premise of it is completely changed. So
yeah, that was like, I mean, that difference is that's the difference between like dog shit and filet mignon, but.
Yeah, and it was a Marvelized movie, whereas the one that, you know, obviously that we saw in 2021 was the movie that's where you were heading with not a 4-hour version of it, but a 2-hour version that was closer to that. So.
Do you think?
All right, guys. Once again, please. Today is not for us. If you're gonna send a super chat during this 3 hours, forego the super chat and click on the link that's pinned to the top of the chat and donate to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. I would love at some point in our lifetime to get that $20,000 goal raised. The money's going to a really good place. I think we've explained over and over again. It's not just going to counseling and people being available when they dial, you know, some of these numbers. It's going to the education of the people so that they can, not just counselors, but people in general, so that you can spot the signs. Also, the people who have unfortunately lost people due to this, and the counseling for them, the education for them, because it's not just a person that you lose; it's the whole reverberating after effects that still have to be accounted for. So these kind of funds help them. So if you could donate, like I said, I think the minimum donation is $10. And if you can't do it, just make sure everybody on the internet within the next 2.5 hours or however long we have left knows about it. And if they can't do it today, you know, payday, whatever, just save the link. Click on the link and pin it and make it one of your favorites to get around to us when you can. All right, go ahead, Braddock. I cut you off.
Oh yeah, because I mean, one thing I've also kind of wondered is with because this was, you know, it was a 3-hour movie that was cut down to 2.5 for the theatrical run, and I mean the reason for that is, you know, they wanted to get as many show times as they could out of it. Do you think maybe they were starting to see like studios kind of move past that as far as getting kind of gun shy in the run times because we had, you know.
Oh yeah, because of Avengers.
Yeah, we've had Endgame.
One reason alone is because of Avengers.
Well, we've had Endgame, but even like Warner Brothers specifically, we've had the Batman. That's, you know, it's roughly 3 hours. And
yeah, but you wouldn't have the Batman without it. You wouldn't have any other movie going 3 hours without Infinity War and Endgame. Once Infinity War and Endgame said, as long as you have something attractive enough, you're gonna make your money. You make time for more screenings. You sacrifice something else if you have to. Something else that's not going to make you that kind of money. And instead of deteriorating your film, Endgame and Infinity War showed you that, yeah, you can make a movie, and if it's paced right, people will sit through it, and mathematically you'll make your money in the end. But the biggest fear, like you were saying, is because so many movies were hurt by the runtime because you couldn't get as many screenings in. Now post Endgame, you're seeing. I'm walking in the theaters sometimes, and if it's a big moneymaker, that's all I see. For No Way Home, that's all that was in that.
Well, and like even like the Thursday shows. I mean, that's part of it. It's because they kind of phased out. Like,
at 3.
Yeah. Start 3. Well, they've also kind of phased out, like starting them at midnight. I think it was the Aurora shooting during the Dark Knight Rises. I think played a big role in that. So they don't really do them at midnight anymore. But yeah, if it's like a big enough tentpole, they'll start them at like 3. And now basically Thursday will be the opening day. But that's something that's been on my mind is that our studios like getting less kind of pearl clutching in terms of like the runtime. We have to like you get it, as economical as we can in terms of which means we have to cut down a lot of stuff. But then we have Endgame come out, and then we have and even though it wasn't like a wide theatrical release, Zack Snyder's Justice League me 4 hours, and I suspect either Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars is going to be in the 3.5 to 4 hour range.
Well, it's going to be about 320. 320 is a max.
What was that, Phil? Or Clint?
4 hours seems way too long without an intermission, man. You're drinking the giant soda and eating the giant pretzel.
Yeah, you got to pee. That's like 10 tea breaks. I think, to answer your question, Brad, I think it depends on the movie and the pacing of the movie. If it's an action movie, if it's a superhero movie, I think Endgame broke open the door for you to be able to do something like that. But if it's something like Killers of the Flower Moon or something like that, no, you're probably not gonna, something that's really long and drawn out. I think you're gonna see them still say no to those type of movies and cut those movies down. But when it's an action movie that flows like Avengers Endgame, No Way Home, things like that, I think that Endgame and Avengers really paved the way for them to say yes to more of that.
I still don't know what this means. Like Funnel Fairy Butter Bar. What the hell? 9 years.
Killers of the Flower Moon was a great movie, man. Leonardo DiCaprio plays a perfect idiot.
Yeah, it's a great movie, but it's just not one of those movies that if you're trying to keep a theater open and you need to sacrifice screenings, are you going to sacrifice it for a long movie like The Irishman or that?
Oh yeah,
great movies.
I totally agree. Yeah. It's not a money maker for that being that long,
but streaming wise, man, streaming. The advantage of streaming is like right now, if I got to pee and we weren't doing a screening like this, I hit pause, I go to the bathroom, I come back, I got my own. I mean, so it's there's an environment for everything. So I'm happy we have a variety. I got some customers coming in, guys. Brad, without going full kung fu, I'm going to turn this over to you.
Well, we're not at the warehouse yet, so you're safe for the time being.
I think we're just going to skip that scene when we get to it.
The hell we are.
I'm just going to hit the X's the entire time. All right, I'll be right back. Try to raise money, guys.
Yes, please. If you can, please consider a donation. Yeah. So, what else can you say while in William's absence? I'm going to talk a little bit about. Yeah, this is this whole speech about feeling of powerlessness again. This is like such a theme in this movie that just went over so many detractors' heads. The feeling of powerlessness, turning good men cruel, and like that's the whole kind of like inversion of what Lex is saying is like power can be innocent, and the idea that this movie is playing with with Batman fighting Superman is that the lack of power also has a corrupting influence, or it can lead you down a dark path. The feeling of being at the mercy of some impossibly powerful adversary, and that's what Batman's arc in this movie is. Lex's father, born East Germany. You know who else was? William. I see. I don't know. So I think I think we're gonna get a little longer with the Doomsday and Secret Wars. I think they're gonna at least push those into like the 3.5 hour range. Like just with the sheer number of characters, that kind of makes it hard to avoid.
unless they do the Wolverine, that other guy fight where he just cuts his head and then it's over.
What, they're just gonna do that with every character?
It'd be hilarious.
Oh yeah, but I mean, come on, it's gonna piss people off. You're not gonna. Then your box office is gonna really tank after the opening weekend. By the way, it's like I'm still trying to like put it, line them up in my head, but apparently Lex's theme in BVS is is like a reworking of Ideal of Hope for Superman. So it's kind of an anti-Superman theme. Okay, Zach. Yeah, again, I love you. I love this movie. I love this franchise. I love these characters. I love this universe. I love your whole filmography, dude. But those eggs, man, that's the biggest problem I have with this movie is those damn eggs. Those damn fake eggs, man. I don't know if I mentioned this thing in like the previous watch parties, but like when the movie was originally being written, Metallo was considered to be the villain, and of course, he's the Superman villain who's got a kryptonite heart. And you can kind of see in Wallace Keith, you can see him as being kind of like you can see the kind of the connective tissue that he probably is sort of a reworked. He's reworked from the role that Metallo would have played. You can see sort of how he transitioned from Metallo to what we see in Wallace O'Keefe. By the way, this statue we have that's from McFarlane Toys now. The false god Superman statue. It's a thing now. Merchandising that.
Did you answer Anthony? He asked a question or something like that.
Get that. Brad, hypothetically, if the first movies for Batman and Superman are successful with how it seems, is James Gunn setting up Bruce candidate? Are you asking? Is he setting up like his own BVS basically? I don't know. It's like I feel like I don't know, especially with like again this movie being such a lightning rod. I don't know if that doesn't strike me as something like him doing like BVS 2.0. I don't know. And again, it's still so fresh in people's minds. I mean, it's been 9 years and it feels like it came out, this last weekend. I mean, that is what the staying power of this has been. That is what how much it's still in the cultural conversation. Whatever the detractors might say otherwise. I mean, proof is in the pudding. So, yeah, I don't see him I don't see him doing his own BBS. Anthony says no. What I'm asking is, with how he's setting up Bruce, having Damian already, can BVS work? Can BVS work with him having a Robin? Is that what you're asking? Yeah, I mean, in theory, I suppose, like a general Batman and Superman story. Yeah, certainly, but again, it's like, yeah, I don't see him doing a. I don't see him pitting them against each other. I don't see him doing anything, like, story wise akin to like Batman fighting Superman.
I'm still Superman could just wipe out Batman from a distance, and that'd be the end of it.
And he doesn't do that because he's Superman. Because he's not a psycho. He's not Brightburn.
Well, I mean, what's the point of punching him then?
Well, that's one of the things I really like about when we actually get to the Batman and Superman fight is they found a way to make it so that it's an actual fight, but that also one that Batman has to do the work of winning. What they have with the kryptonite gas that he uses, the way the effect that it has is like it weakens Superman, but it doesn't like fully depower him or it just put him out of commission. And it's only it only acts it's that like a short term duration kind of effect. I really dug that as opposed to like, oh, I'm just gonna hold up the rock and just block you. And it's like that's so anticlimactic to me. It's like I hate kryptonite being used that way, really, in any story, any movie, any show, any comic story. It's like I like and I like the idea in this again, like the way it's used in the actual Batman Superman fight is that it's a tool of leveling the playing field, but there's still, again, Batman's still at that point, he still has to, actually has to win the fight. So yeah, that's something I really appreciated with how kryptonite was implemented in the Batman and Superman fight.
I'm sorry if I'm Superman and someone gasses me with kryptonite gas. As soon as I recover, I'm gonna fly a little bit far away and cut both of their arms off with my laser eyes and call it a day.
Well, he's got his mother kidnapped, and he wants Batman to help him. And again, that's kind of what makes him Superman. It's the fact that he has that power. And he doesn't do that kind of thing, even when it would be easier to do that. The red capes are coming. God, I remember that being all over the marketing. What's up, sis?
Hello.
Yeah. Oh, I think it might be echoing for somebody here.
I'm usually on mute, so it's not me.
No, it was me.
Okay, you got. Looks like
It was me.
We could blame Brad though.
Oh yeah, I mean, whatever problem at any given time in the entire world, it's obviously my fault.
What timestamp?
We are at 42:27. It's right when the whole you won't fool the flyer me. He's talking to Senator Finch in Lexus mansion.
So 42 what? 47.
Yeah. Well, now we're at 42. Yeah. 42:49. Yeah.
Only in Las Vegas you have to turn on the AC in March.
So you guys are up to when Lex Luthor spoke Bruce and Clark.
We're just before that. Yeah, we're right. We're at the right now. It's when he's having the nightmare about in his parents' mausoleum, and Man Bat basically jumps out. William wanted me to not talk about any kung fu stuff while he's away, so it's like, oh, you're lucky because we're not at the warehouse yet. That'll change when we get there. Believe you me.
Raid alert! Raid alert!
I should put that as a banner when we're watching that part. I'm gonna do that.
I have an in stream button to my right here,
Yeah.
and
So do I.
I have. I can eliminate yours. This is not Kung Fu Saturday afternoon Kung Fu. It is Batman v Superman.
With a
Oh,
very
that would have been
great
a dream. Having this Saturday morning cartoon, martial arts cartoon.
Listen. I've given Brad permission to start his own Kung Fu dreams, and
This is coming. This is coming up when we get the warehouse.
no, it's not, because nobody fucking cares or knows what that movie is that is watching the show all the time.
We get Zach on here, man. I'm telling you, he's gonna confirm it.
Okay, well, you have that dream then, and you can ask that guy a question about.
We're still waiting for
that, but our general audience does not care.
We're waiting for what?
We're still waiting for a Western version of it. I tell you what, until when they do make it, then it will be popular.
Oh, you mean the remake? Yeah, they can never seem to get off the ground.
Yeah. I thought we were on the same.
Yeah, so just make it with Brent. Yeah, Brent. He basically did remake it in Life After Fighting, and then actually had an article go up on Comic Book where I said no, it already has two. Really, I thought about it after I wrote that. It's like no, it really has three, because there's Boggy from India, there's Life After Fighting, and there's one called The Princess, which is basically like a medieval version of the Raid. So it's been remade 3 times in some form or fashion. So yeah.
It's like that new David Ayer movie that you guys were talking about on the vodka stream.
Oh, Working Man.
Yeah, it's very similar to the Beekeeper.
Yeah. If you like the Beekeeper, you'll definitely like a Working Man. It's actually interesting too, because I would kind of like Beekeeper and Working Man. Actually, would kind of like in terms of pace, I would actually kind of compare them a little bit to Man of Steel and BVS. Beekeeper, I compare a little bit more to Man of Steel because it moves very fast. It's very action heavy. It just moves a mile a minute. And then Working Man, I mean, it's got a lot of action. Don't get me wrong, but it's like I would kind of liken it a little bit more to BVS in the sense that it does take its time a little bit more. It does give you room to breathe a little bit, more. So so I guess fitting metaphor, on the BVS watch party.
Oh, charming! We got Dr. Wet Blanket on.
Dr. Wet Blanket.
Yeah, that's what I call Neil deGrasse Tyson.
Oh, what's he saying now?
Oh, talking about freaking Superman and stuff like that.
Yeah. By the way, why this is I didn't pick up on this until way after I first saw this, but remember seeing somebody on social media do this. The part when like Lex, right here, he's talking about Zeus's plan, and like he gave he kind of lays out Zeus's history, and it cuts right to Diana, and she kind of looks like, oh yeah, right. Like it's like I didn't even pick up on that because it's like, oh right, yeah, because she knows firsthand like how much Lex's version is bogus about Zeus.
Well, since they're pretty much talking politics on this, it's really sad that PBS might not exist anymore.
Yeah.
This could be a relic. This movie.
Yeah. Well, I mean, nobody. Think about it, the whole tech billionaire like manipulating the public through his media connections thing. I mean, it's like that totally isn't relevant now, is it?
Yeah. It's like as if Zack Snyder was seeing in the future.
Yep.
They always talk about The Simpsons predicting things. What about Zack
Yeah.
Snyder?
By the way, it's funny you mentioned The Simpsons because I follow a couple of Simpsons pages on Twitter, and there was one I quote tweeted or I retweeted this one earlier because this one makes me laugh so hard. It's the episode where Marge is where she accidentally shoplifts the Quickie Mart, and so she gets 30 days in jail, and so she's in prison for a month. And Homer is kind of trying to raise the kids, in her absence. This is okay. It was like we're gonna do. It's like only eat over the sink or toilet. I don't want to do any dishes. And Bart asks, "So what are we gonna? Who's gonna change Maggie?" Homer's like, "We're gonna let her roam free in the backyard and let nature take its course." Homer is such a wonderful father, isn't he? Yeah, another one. This is like the Daily Planet. Do I own this one or is that the other guy? It's like there's a lot of theories about who the other guy is. Mine is that I think the other guy is Green Arrow. That's always been my theory, is that the other guy because especially if you know Green Arrow's history, when he started out, in the comics, he basically was like a Batman knockoff, with a bow and arrow.
Yeah.
So
remembering, like, I don't know whether you ever watched Arrow.
Yeah.
A lot of people used to call like Arrow Walmart Batman.
Dark Knight. Yeah, no, because the tone was like the Nolan movies a lot, and it even had a lot of Batman villains. They had like who they have on. They had Deathstroke. They had Ra's al Ghul. There's one meme I saw at one point where somebody said, "Yeah, this week Oliver Queen is going to fight Batman villains." So
I tell you what, Stephen Amell hated everybody calling him a knockoff Batman. Well, like, the thing is, he was playing a knockoff Batman. It was the closest thing they could ever try and put Batman on the small screen.
Yeah.
So they used the character that he is playing. Like,
yeah, well, and again, like he literally
Green Arrow has his own freaking rogues gallery. Like, come on.
Yeah, and there were they're I mean they like, who did they pull from on there? They pulled like Merlin. They pulled well, Deathstroke is also, I mean, he kind of moves around among. I mean, he's most closely associated with Teen Titans, but he has been a Batman villain. He has been a Green Arrow villain, so that is true to his comics history.
But the thing is, he's part of the Bat family. These are Bat family villains.
Yeah.
Or if I can spin over like an umbrella term. So, but he's never been a bloody Green Arrow villain. Come on. At least with Flash, they got it right with all his villains and stuff.
And he's got a lot. He's got a Flash. I mean, he's literally got the rogues.
Yeah, he's like Batman. He's got a lot of villains. I'm like,
I still can't. I'm just watching Ben Affleck like run up the staircase there. I still can't believe that's a hairpiece. I cannot believe that's a hairpiece he's wearing. Because apparently, like all of every Batman performance, he's wearing a hairpiece. That is just, I cannot believe, that is so convincing.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought that
Well,
was his natural hair.
Yeah, well, even like that when he did the Aquaman 2 cameo that unfortunately got taken out. That one picture of him with Jason Momoa, behind the scenes, where he's like suited up as Bruce Wayne, like that's a hairpiece he's wearing, but it doesn't look like a hairpiece. It's
But
like
the thing is, why does he need a hairpiece? He has
Yeah.
full head of hair.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe they. I mean, sometimes they just the decision making will be like, oh, it's like this will make him look more Bruce Wayne like.
Or he has gray hair and he didn't want to color it and he asked for a hairpiece or something that.
Yeah, but also, his Batman is supposed to be an older Batman, so that's if you have gray hair, that's kind of to your advantage in this case.
Or I don't know who makes the decision on what job it is. Make the decision what the characters look like. They wanted him to look like this, and he couldn't do it with his own hair.
Look at those guys up there on that ship, just chilling on the ship's turned over, and they're on the side there. I didn't even see them up there the first time I saw this movie.
What's the time again?
To me, it's 53.
Oh yeah, speaking of, I guess I'm a little bit ahead of you guys, but here's Dr. Wet Blanket, as you were just saying.
Are you watching the Ultimate Edition?
Yep.
Oh, okay. I'm watching the theatrical.
Okay. Just I guess.
Somebody's got something blowing in the background.
Now getting back. Sorry about that, guys. And this is I got to meet Jenna Malone. I think I mentioned before at Tampa Comic Con. My buddy Mike and I went there. That was that would have been like early August 2015. So about what, like 8 months or so before the movie came out. And she was like, he was having fun. Like, oh, I can't talk about it, so no. Yeah, she's a real sweetheart. I think I told everybody the story about the because it was also right before the what was at the time the last Hunger Games came out, and there was a girl ahead of me in the Q&A line, the microphone, and she mentioned, I wanted to ask, my friend wanted to ask me to ask you this question because she's had some kind of terminal illness, and she, her time was very limited. She was, I think she said she may or may not have been, that made it to the next Hunger Games. Just burst into tears right there, and Jenna Malone just bolted down from the stage.
No.
Gave her a hug, yeah. Real sweet lady. Just said, hey, we're recommend here.
I know a lot of that happens in that, and studios will give them like a give people who are terminally ill special screenings.
Yeah, well, they did that year with Star. Well, I remember like with the Force Awakens when that was coming out. There was a guy that he got to see it like a month or two early because he had like terminal cancer or something. And the first thing my mind went to when I heard about that was, oh, this is Fanboys. This is the plot of Fanboys.
Oh yeah, I've seen that movie. It's free on YouTube.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't seen, it's the guys. It takes place in '99, where this group of friends, one of them has terminal cancer, and they just he's got like 4 months, and Phantom Menace comes out in 6, so they kind of concoct this plot to go to the Skywalker Ranch and steal a print of Phantom Menace so he can see it before he passes away. You haven't seen it yet, definitely. It's very heartfelt. It's also very funny.
I get to find out that answered in 2 weeks. Whee!
You get to what?
I get to find out the answer in 2 weeks about terminal stuff.
Oh,
Oh,
is it really that bad?
You don't get 6 blood transfusions for nothing.
Well, good luck, man. And as William just shared here, yes, this is a charity stream. So if you can, please consider a donation to our AFSP drive. We are trying to hit 20,000. I personally, I'm kind of setting my saying the goal. I want us to try to get there by May 20th. Of course, that's the anniversary of the Snyder Cut being announced. So if you can, please consider a donation. If you can't, even just sharing it around on social media, just spread the word about our charity drive. That's we definitely very much appreciate that. And here we have.
I've put the link and everything on Blue Sky because it
Yeah, I saw
hadn't been put there yet before. So
I don't know how you all keep up with all the different social media things. That just seems impossible to me. I just stick to one and that's it.
Yeah, well, I mean, especially
I
doing
can kind of understand you, Brad, because that's your business and everything. But
well, William too. I mean, he's got to kind of have a good navigation of social media to advertise the Sci-Fi Center. So here we got the first scene with Lois Lane and Martian Manhunter. I mean, General Swanwick, excuse me. And yeah, this might sound very tinfoil hat.
# the spoiler.
This might sound a little tinfoil hat on my part, but I'm sorry. Zach has been telling the world, we saw this kind of fan theory on Reddit that Swanwick and Man of Steel was Martian Manhunter. We decided, let's like kind of take that and like run with that. Go back and watch Man of Steel. Look at how many times in Man of Steel where Swanwick is shown in Matrix green tint. I mean, no, I think he's falling like, and also the interrogation. Superman walks up to the two-way mirror. Everybody retreats except Swanwick. Yeah, come on. Obviously, we had planned there from there.
I love that they cast an Aussie as KG Beast.
Yeah.
Everybody like when I saw this in the cinema, it would have been around 9 o'clock screening, and like, oh my god, like actually I have to say that it was we're pretty timid and quiet with us with the sinners. I have to say that it was quite lively when this was on, and everybody knew who the guy was. They're like, oh my god, that's such and such.
Yeah, people were definitely pretty involved in my first showing of it too. I mean, like when Wonder Woman drops in the Doomsday battle, that got a big cheer.
So KGB's got a bit of a pop in our cinema because of being an Aussie, and we all knew who he was.
Well, but did that get a boo when he got killed though?
People went, oh.
They're like, oh, okay. I was like, well, he was holding a woman at gunpoint though, so
yeah. He's known to play predominantly bad guys anyway. So
Yeah.
this is up his alley. So where you see him being killed anyway.
Well, he was also because we done a watch party of this too. He was also in Beyond Skyline. He was one of the scientists in Beyond Skyline. So he's been some had some regularity here on the Sci-Fi Center watch parties.
Yeah.
So I thought Jenna was playing Robin. I actually thought she was playing Chloe. That was my theory, was she was going to be Chloe Sullivan from Smallville. That was my theory. I thought it was going to, and then it kind of ended up being Much Ado About Nothing, because it's like she's only in a couple scenes and she's a somewhat obscure character, Jeanette Clyburn from Star Labs. So I don't know. But that's who I kind of settled on, is that she was going to be when Chloe making her big screen debut.
Or is it?
You actually thought he was going to take some mess from that show and put it on?
Yeah, because A, he's on record being a Smallville fan. B, I mean, go back and look at the flashback to when Clark is getting bullied in Man of Steel. Yeah, what's the name of that truck shop called again? Oh, and there's also the Fordham boy on the bus. Like Zach's a fan. Zach's a fan of Smallville. Yep.
There's a difference between being a fan and whatever.
I know on Supergirl they name dropped Chloe as well there.
Yeah. I didn't keep up with Supergirl for as much. I was kind of like half. I was kind of like a little bit like a half-hearted sort of follower of the Arrowverse, because I started out with Arrow and I and then went into the Flash, but then the other shows I just kind of came and went with periodically, and then it wasn't really until Superman and Lois came about that I really got committed to one of them again, one of the CW DC shows again. And then it ended up being not set within the Arrowverse.
Callan Mulvey, that's his name.
Yep. So when we were doing in the lead up to when the Snyder Cut was coming out, my old colleague at Screed Rant, Mr. Stephen Colbert, those of you who don't know, he does a podcast with Andrew Dice called BBS by the Minute, and I did actually an article on this where they actually had Richard Citrone, who's Ben Affleck's Batman stunt guy, on the show, and he talked about the filming this, the fight scene and the nightmare. And one of the things he mentioned was that it was actually pretty tough on him because just literally the night before, he had kind of an emergency with his son. His son got sick or something, and he had to take him to the hospital. So he was going into this with very little sleep. And he said, I took as many energy drinks as I could, but again, he was just really, all he did during the lunch break was just lay down and just try to get a little rest. But he talked about he said he watches this and it might look to us oh, this is a cool one shot fight scene, but he says I watch it and I just think I look so lethargic and just so it just I'm just barely hanging in there. And you did a pretty good job of hiding that, though. Yeah, Parademons. Here we go, Parademons. I really loved how they they designed the Parademons. That with the wings made. It's almost like hornets or locusts. They made it very insect-like.
Oh, locusts.
Yep.
What does that represent? Ooh.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. It's this is.
All right, currently there are 154 of you guys watching across our platforms. Please like, subscribe, and most of all, for today, in the next 2 hours or so, share the link, donate if you can, even if it's $10. Every buck helps. Try to get us closer to our goal of 20,000 overall raise. Thank you very much.
I actually remember this clip for this was shown, on TV, like kind of during the marketing. It was, I think back in like around Christmas of 2015, like, so about 3 months before the movie came out, this was, it was like an early kind of like thing they glimpsed, for like on like Fallon or something like that, in the lead up to it. I remember thinking like, yeah, this was like this really raised some questions for me, because like Superman's like, he doesn't look mad, he looks evil here, and then you realize like, okay, the whole context of like the nightmare and the anti-life equation, it's like, okay, that explains that, but we didn't have that, and even though we know it's like a Batman fighting Superman movie, again, he looks more pissed off than you would expect even in that context. Lois Lane. Yeah, that was just my Flash cameo. It's just, man, I was so over the moon about this. And it's like, how many people how many like DC fans like wish we could like go back in time, or envision like going back in time and like sending like our younger selves like messages about, oh, don't there's the bad version of Justice League that comes out, but don't worry, but you got to do this and this to make the real one happen. The anti-life equation, is basically it's a kind of a cosmic formula that can be used to strip people of their free will. So, and Darkseid wants that because he wants to he wants to make the entire population throughout the multiverse subservient to him. So that's basically the idea of the anti-life equation. It's a tool for stripping people of free will.
Then why do they call it anti-life? Okay, whatever. They got to name it something, I guess.
Because you're not truly living if you're living under it. It's basically you're as close to dead as you can be, and still you're being used under the will of whoever has solved that equation. When Jack Kirby created it, and when they developed the anti-life equation early in the Fourth World, I believe, it was the whole meaning of life was living in individuals and free individuals, no matter where you were in the universe. If you're enslaved by somebody under some cosmic force, you are no longer living. You are literally doing the opposite of living. Hence, anti-life.
Man, I'll tell you what, Superman had real big balls to go into this hearing.
Yeah. Well, so you're at the Capitol hearing?
Yes.
Well, I remember like I think it might have been on here actually, one of the watch parties we did, where somebody mentioned like when he moves the little the little kind of swinging door in the courtroom, to come up to the podium. That was just like a little, almost like on his part, was kind of like a gesture to sort of present himself in a kind of a human light to his audience, because he could have just hovered right over it and just just gone there, but it's he's trying to present himself in a very non-threatening way. So there's kind of the subtle detail there.
But don't think everybody realize that he's trying to save everybody against these assholes.
Yes. Well, no, people in the movie, not just people in the movie, but people watching the movie too.
They got his name wrong. They wrote Mr. Lex Luthor, but his actual name is Alexander Luthor.
Yeah, and that maybe William might be able to answer that because that's no, maybe we lost William there. But the whole thing about it, it's not uncommon, to show his full name is Alexander Luthor, but he goes by Lex Luthor. It's like, is there any like kind of canonical reason for like why he shortened to Lex instead of like Alex? Well, I've never really been like clear on that.
Well, the thing is, they're in a formal setting, like a friggin' Senate hearing. They should be putting his actual legal government name rather than Lex. So obviously that could be a form of like disrespect towards him, that they decided to do that rather than his government name.
Yeah.
Like a slide to him. Or it could be just reading things too much. I don't know.
It could also be a bit like this kind of thought occurred to me. Because Lex, he kind of goes into the hearing. Do you remember like when Martin Shkreli, the pharma guy, like who raised the Daraprim pill to like $180 a pill or whatever it was? Who is that? And he went and when he was like brought up on like insider trading charges or whatever it was.
Pharma bro.
Yeah, he went in there and like treated the whole thing like a complete just a clown show, which it was. I mean, it's like because they only brought him in there, to like this is the purpose of theater. It's like we're gonna pretend like we're actually doing something. For, these guys are just bleeding everybody dry, but yeah, like Lex, I think he kind of goes into any court setting with the same kind of a mindset as Martin Shkreli. It's like I don't. He goes in already having contempt of court.
You know what's funny? Farmer Bro is pretty much in real life Arkham Asylum because he's in the same prison as Luigi. He's in the same prison as
Really?
as R. Kelly, P. Diddy,
wow,
and Ghislaine Maxwell.
Yeah, and it ain't looking good for Diddy.
Yeah, she's in the female section of it, but nevertheless, everybody calls it Arkham Asylum now.
Yeah. Oh, this happened here we're at the car chase here. I remember actually because the movie came out before this happened, but then when I showed it to Ashley and they showed the Ultimate Edition, Ashley and Mike, and we get the car chase where the one car gets knocked around and tossed around. And I was like, oh, that brings that memory for me because actually that year, the year this movie came out, I was actually in kind of a bad car accident. I was at a red light, and some idiot, I think she was texting and driving. She rear-ended me, and she hit me. She hit me pretty hard. I mean, looking at the back, and she totaled my car. I mean, looking from the back of it, yeah, looking at the back of it, I think she was probably going about 40 miles an hour when she hit me. And I'm amazed I didn't get hurt during that. I mean, the worst I got was a little bit of whiplash, but I wasn't injured at all other than that. Which again,
but psychologically, you would have been really shook for.
Oh man, yeah, that scared. Oh, it scared the hell out of me. But yeah, so we're doing showing them the Ultimate Edition, and gets to this part with the a car getting like pulled around by the Batmobile or smashed around, and I thought, oh yeah, I kind of know what that feels like now.
I T-boned a lady coming out of a Walmart parking lot. My truck had a little bit of hood damage. Her car was a U shape.
Was she okay?
They took her to the hospital, but I mean, it was her fault because she pulled right out in front of me. She was in a little car. I was driving my big truck.
Gee, people need
Glad
to
you-
be careful.
Yeah.
Well, what happened was a truck pulled in front of me to turn in, and she thought that the way was clear, and I was doing 40. And when the truck moved out of the way, she had pulled out, and boom, T-bone. Which is why I tell everyone, if you can't see, there's someone coming.
There should be mirrors, like blind spot mirrors around. I know with some of our shopping centre parking lots, there's normally blind spot mirrors around for drivers to see.
Yeah, but I was on the public road. She was pulling out from the parking lot onto the public road.
Oh. Yeah, well, she should have gave way and looked.
Well, there was a truck in between me and her, so she couldn't see me, but she assumed that no one was coming, and I was on my way.
Well, there's an old saying, assumption makes an ass out of you and me.
I thought it was an ass out of you and Uma.
Who's Uma? Oh yes, she's thousands upon thousands of years old. She's probably older than Jesus.
Also, yes, reminder everybody, yes, this is a AFSP charity stream. We want to try to hit 20 grand goal to donate to AFSP. So if you can, please consider a donation. The link is right here on the screen. I'll also put in the chat again. And if you can't, just consider sharing it around and so other people can see it.
I was gonna go grab the DVD, the half-a DVD open, and I thought, I'll just see if it's on Netflix. It's on Netflix. Just I'd be lazy. Let's watch it on there instead. Do you think Lex Luthor is a narcissistic psychopath?
Totally. Oh, totally. Yeah. What do you mean, like this version, or just in general?
Just in general.
Yeah. I would say so, definitely.
I know in this version he has something extra.
Yeah, this is so awesome. This the whole like the security footage of oh, we're not quite there yet, but I'll talk about that when we get there. Yeah, envy.
Way to not do a Brad.
Well, I mean, but I mean, again, this is like this. That is like if you look up like the symptoms of narcissistic personality disorder, that is one of them. In fact, I'll go and read them off here. Let's see, pull it up right now. This is from the American Psychiatric Association's Diagnostic and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. So, to have a NPD, they have to have you have to be exhibit at least 5 of these symptoms, and these are so a grandiose sense of self-importance, exaggerates achievements and talents, expects to be recognized as superior without commensurate achievements. Preoccupation with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Believing that they are special and unique and it can only be understood by or should associate with other special or high-status people or institutions. Requiring excessive admiration. A sense of entitlement, unreasonable expectations of especially favorable treatment or automatic compliance with their expectations. Being interpersonally exploitative, taking advantage of others to achieve their own ends, lacking empathy, unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. And here's pertinent one for that: often being envious of others or believing that others are envious of them, and showing arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes. So, yeah, you have per the Diagnostics and Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders, you have at least 5 of those, you could have narcissistic personality disorder.
Wow.
And
so all you got to do is have 5, and that's it.
Well, usually, yeah. So I mean, for most mental disorders like that, they'll you don't have to have every single possible symptom. You just have to
have a majority.
Yeah, exactly. And especially with something like that, I mean, it's like that lays it out pretty. Each of the characteristics it lays out, it's pretty cut and dry. It's like, yeah, those are all pretty definitive. And you have 5 of those. It's like, yeah, that's somebody who definitely thinks highly of themselves to the point of narcissism.
You know what I find interesting with this version of Batman is that he ran away from his family home rather than stay there with other versions, which he tries to hold on to it a little bit more.
Yeah,
yeah.
Well, and also, I think it was Phil mentioned either on here on the Vodka stream, he has this one theory about why Wayne Manor is burned down, and it kind of relates to the death of Robin, because the Robin suit you look at it looks like it was burned, and he has an idea that the Joker may have he found out Batman's Bruce Wayne. He launched an attack with some henchmen or something on Wayne Manor, burned it down, and Robin was killed in that attack. I was like, oh, I think you're on something there. Hi, Sammy, how's it going? Right, right in the middle of the greatest gladiator match in the history of the world. Actually, can you, Sammy, could you share our link to the AFSP drive we're doing? If you share that on social media, because we want to try to definitely raise some money during the watch party tonight, and of course we want to get to our $20,000 goal, hopefully by about May 20th. Oh, what you think of it? I liked it a lot. Thank you, appreciate that. By the way, I think this is actually the first movie I think I ever saw. Why is her name escaping me? Gonna look her up again. Holly Hunter. The first movie I ever saw Holly Hunter in, because I hadn't seen The Incredibles at the time.
Well, everyone have fun. Hopefully raise money. I'm going to log off. Have fun.
All right. Get to well soon, man.
looked at a list of what.
Yeah. By the way, it's like because right now I'm just at the part where KGB stuff pushes the one from Nairobi onto the subway track. It's like, yes, this is the second Ben Affleck superhero movie where a character is killed by being run over by a train. So yeah, I really enjoyed it. I liked it more. The Beekeeper was a bit more serious and darker. Yeah, again, it's like I think if you're a fan of Statham and you're a fan of like the Statham Ayer kind of duo, you'll definitely like this. Oh yeah, and of course here we are, and we have our obligatory in a Batman movie, our obligatory Senator Patrick Leahy cameo. No, I've seen The Incredibles. I just didn't see it when it came out. Actually, I saw the second one first. I saw the second one when that came out like 14 years later. I'm not really like a big Pixar guy, to be perfectly honest. You know, I was kind of past that sort of phase of my childhood kind of animation taste at that point when that came out. So I didn't see it when it came out initially, but I have seen it. Right now we are at 129.25. I'm watching it actually on Amazon. I just have it on Amazon, so I just pulled it up from there. That's how I'm pulling it up right now. Really like it's a really good shot here of him in the flaming building. And that look on his, the look on his, I always like took that look on his face. For me, it was always like, I mean, obviously he's destroyed that everybody got killed there, but also it's just like, it's just taking on the whole thing. It's like, I didn't even get the chance to share my side of the story with them. And he's, it's just dawning on him at this point, like, I can't, like, every time I try to, make the people of the world trust me, there's just something just prevents that in really tragic ways. Like what happens with the people in the Capitol.
Oh, those are the pictures that he got.
No, so you're already at the again because Aaron's a little bit ahead of us. You're at when he Lex is saying go fight Batman.
Yeah.
I really love that part. I always love how in this set of movies like that they really whenever Superman gets mad, like they really emphasize his heat. It's almost like that's kind of like a reflex when he gets mad, where his heat vision just kind of gets triggered by his anger, and he can just barely keep it back when he's really really pissed off.
Oh, fun facts in Supergirl, Supergirl's and Superman's heat vision was blue.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and when they decided to make Superman and Lois, they retconned his heat vision to be red again.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't mind blue heat vision.
Yeah, there was a lot of retconning in Superman and Lois.
Well, yeah, because when they started out, they were kind of still linking themselves to the Arrowverse, but they were still maintaining like an arm's length sort of relationship. And then by about the beginning of season 2, that's when they decided, no, we're just going to do our own thing. And then end of season 2, that's when they made that clear in the finale that this is its own world.
Yeah,
and
you know what put it in the beginning a bad taste in my mouth is that it kind of felt like a bait and switch. That's why I also didn't really start watching it.
I mean, yeah, I could see how people could feel that, especially if you were like really invested in the Arrowverse. How this kind of this kind of took Superman out of the equation for that. When, like I said, it was like I was sort of again, I was kind of had one foot in and one foot out in the Arrowverse. I think in the long run, though, it did end up being very beneficial to them that it was its own thing, because it's like it was able to, even though it was truncated from 7 seasons to 4, it still was able to like put a bow on it in a way that probably wouldn't have been able to if it had been like with that the way Crisis ended with establishing their when they established the Arrowverse Justice League, and then we never saw them again. So
yeah,
Thankfully, we never saw it.
That was freaking hilarious how things went.
Yeah,
to be honest.
I mean,
and
really,
I was a
freaking
Arrowverse fan. I was like, oh, that's funny.
Yeah, it really was. Yeah, Crisis. You look back on it, really was kind of like the de facto finale for at first, it's like a whole enterprise was kind of like the de facto finale for it, and then not long after that, that's when you had. I mean, COVID also kind of played a role in some of the the production timeline of everything after Crisis 2, but that's what you had. Ruby Rose, certainly Batwoman, and and then the show starting after that. So
what are we doing here, guys? What are we doing?
Oh, wait, with this ripping into the Arrowverse. That's all.
Yeah.
I'm hearing CW nonsense and reasons why CW and all that. It was bad. So somebody figured out that it was bad, and
you should be sitting down, relaxing, and enjoying us ripping into the Arrowverse. On all the bad.
I don't even like mentioning the Arrowverse because.
So, Aaron, the Raid is really awesome, isn't it?
I don't think the Arrowverse rises to the mention to be mentioned in a Batman versus Superman screening.
Okay.
It's like introducing vomit into a steak. You just don't want to mix the two.
Well, ramen is a delicacy.
Vomit. Vomit.
I thought you said ramen.
No,
ramen.
No.
Yeah.
Vomit. Okay.
Nothing good should be ever be confused to the Arrowverse.
Well, now there is some trivia here though. That maybe where the Tyler Hoechlin actually at one point was considered to be yes. Have you finished it, Sammy? I know you've been watching Superman and Lois. Have you gotten through the whole show yet? Because it's the best in my book. It's the best Superman TV show we've ever gotten. The way I know you're big.
That's not really a high bar when you consider modern television. What we've had, if you're talking about maybe like the last 15 or 20 years, that's not a high bar. That show was good, but what do we had to compare?
Like the way I kind of describe it is that Man of Steel, that was the Superman movie I waited my whole life for. and that Superman and Lois ended up being the Superman TV show I had waited my whole life for. So yeah, I was definitely. But have you finished it yet? Because I know you've been watching it. I know you got through like the first 2 seasons, but let me hear your thoughts if you finished it. But yeah, going back to the whole
yet
trivia.
again, with me, I still have a
Lois and Clark, yeah.
nostalgia bias with Lois and Clark. So
Well, see, the thing is, because it's like I saw it here and there as a kid. And part of it was because it was actually kind of a, there's a reason why it's called Lois and Clark first and Superman second, because I mean the emphasis was more so on the Lois and Clark romance and that kind of side. Not to say that Superman, there's not Superman in it. It's just that that's kind of that's how they put their foot forward with the show, and it was very much again it was very much a romance, kind of driven series.
it was especially designed for that.
Yeah.
The original showrunner, she said, "Well, this is how it is. It's going to be like a romantic soap opera type situation in a workplace setting, but it's also a superhero show, and that's why the full name of it is Lois and Clark: The New Adventures of Superman." The Superman is like the last thing that's on the whole title of the show.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's actually kind of the way I think, or like it kind of similar to like the way like Stan Lee sort of described the Incredible Hulk TV series, which was, was kind of first and foremost, it was kind of like a character study of Bruce Banner, and they put in like just enough like Hulk kind of transformation and action, like to like really to kind of maintain, okay, this is still a Hulk show.
Okay, guys, be careful not to represent how I feel in this chat here. For what it was, I thought it was fine. Its influences what I have a problem with. The show itself was a cartoon. It was just a cartoon. It was a kid's cartoon. It was as good as a kid's cartoon could be. But its influences, once we reach the adult world and the grown-up world, is where I have a problem. That's why I don't have a problem with Superman the animated series. They didn't distort, transform, and mutate Superman to tell a cartoon story.
Why is it? Why did that happen with Batman and not Superman as far as their animated shows?
Because Superman was when you talk about modern era children, Superman is not or Batman is not appropriate. If you're telling the way Bob Kane and the people who followed that designed him to be, you don't put that in front of kids. Superman, the way they presented them in the cartoon was consistent the way what Superman has always been presented. In any era, Superman has been consistently portrayed alongside of what they did with Superman the animated series. Batman has not. Batman has been in a constant internal struggle to win itself back from Adam West and the mid-'60s and the Go-Go era and all that kind of stuff. And Frank Miller played a huge part in restoring that, only to turn around and turn it into a kid's cartoon. The cartoon itself was fine. The people who worked on it, all the respect in the world. Kevin Conroy, Conroy, rest in peace. Mark. But as far as its influence going forward, there are two 90s cartoons that I have an issue with. Not with the element themselves and the quality of the cartoons themselves, but how they were transformed into something they are not, and then that influence carried forward instead of the source material that they came from. And I understand that if you were born in a different era and you never experienced that as it in real time, that may be a hard argument for me to make to you. And like I said, I'm not here to change anybody's mind. That's just my opinion.
Do you think they brainwashed an entire generation?
I don't know if brainwash is a tough. That's a tough, harsh term. But once again, I think that if that's what you saw, if that's the first thing you saw, that's going to be the most influential thing for you, and you're going to maybe grow up trying to impress that on modern. Some of these people that watch that stuff are creating content today, and they're using that as their influences. And then whenever I hear somebody use it, well, so-and-so from the cartoon was a definitive, I'm like, no, that was a definitive for you. But if you go with the design, not William's opinion, the design of the character, then no, that's something else. So like I said, thank you, Frank Miller.
Manipulation.
I don't even know. Well, they manipulated it, but they manipulated the IP, not the people. They manipulated the IP.
Yeah.
Like I said, if you grow up reading the Joker in the pages that I read, you when you came to me with the idea, let's put Joker on a kids cartoon, I'm going to say absolutely not, because I'm thinking you're going to put the Joker that I know as the Joker, and that's how the Joker has been betrayed by multiple writers. We're not going to even get to the point where we're going to soften them up. I just don't see that. If you have to do that, can create a character that's appropriate for kids. Don't transform one that is not. That's my opinion.
Because
That's my
when I was
standard.
a child, that was my first real foray to Batman and stuff. And later on, when I got a little older, I delved into like Adam West and stuff like that.
When you're talking about Batman being dark, compared as dark as a kid's cartoon can get, because they couldn't do certain things. They just weren't going to be allowed to. But when you compare it to Batman in general, the design of the character, the darkness that is the animated series is like G-rated compared to what he actually is. And they had to do that in order to get that on the network. And
when I was a kid and saw like Tim Burton's Batman, I thought, holy shit, this is different from that cartoon. And so like, what the hell?
Yeah.
It's like it's really dark.
Omega, you can consider it iconic. That's no problem. But it's a kid's cartoon. It's no more than it's a kid's cartoon. It literally aired on Fox Kids. It was literally edited for kids. I mean, you may, from your point of view, see it as more than that, but that's what it was. It was a kid's cartoon. And they stripped away the thing. You could not tell, Batman of the era stories in kid cartoon. They wouldn't allow you. You would have gotten censored and taken off the air.
It was shown in the morning here.
Shown in the mornings and the afternoons.
Yeah, in a show.
Here it was shown after school.
There was a show called Cheese TV, which was like a morning show for kids, which they showed like kids cartoons and stuff like Dragon Ball and stuff like that. And they played Batman the animated series, and that was like before we.
Like I said, depending on what you had seen up to that point, a Mega Swiper, maybe that might have scared you. Maybe that might have been deep for you. And I can fully respect that point of view. But like I said, when somebody says people don't think I thought Batman the animated series is good, no, that's not how I feel. I felt that it was as good as it could be for something that really an IP that really wasn't meant for kids. And cartoons have made that mistake a lot of times. Rambo, you see what Rambo does in movies, and he's on a kid's cartoon at 4:00 in the afternoon. I thought that was a mistake. And glad we only got half a season of that. Certain things that just aren't meant for kids. And when you have to transform them, they become something else. And when you do that, you may as well go ahead and make that something else, in my opinion. But hey,
when anime was being introduced to the West, the amount of editing and censorship that they did to make it acceptable for Western, particularly American kids' audience, unbelievable.
And you got to realize that
Dragon Ball
Batman was during a much darker time. By the way, we just got a donation for $50.
Really?
Let's see who did it. Let's see who did it. I think I know who did this. Let's see. It doesn't show me. Come on. It doesn't show me. Okay, full leaderboard. There we go. All right. What does it show me? Damn it. Hold on. It doesn't show me. Thank you, whoever donated the 50. I will find you in a second. I think it might have been you, Larry, but I will find you so that I can give you your props here. Blocksport doesn't show me. Come on. Okay, let me go into campaigns. Go to campaigns. Go into this one. Current. Let's see. Gift code. Doesn't show me what happened to they do. Okay, here you go. Superman, impressed. Thank you for the $50 donation to the American Foundation for Suicide Prevention. And now that moves us $50 closer to our goal of 20,000. We'll get there. It's going to take us a little bit, but we'll get there. There we go. All right, guys. Thanks, man. But yeah, guys, when it comes to animated Superman animated series, that's my stand on it. A lot of people twist it around a little bit, but no, I don't hate the people who worked on that cartoon. I don't hate the cartoon. I have a problem with its existence and as far as the transformation of the IP and its influence going forward. Much of the argument when you get to, Ben Affleck's Batman or versions of Batman that are brutal as they were designed to be, you'll hear the influence from people who grew up with the animated cartoon thinking that is their benchmark. That's their baseline. And where I have a conflict with it, like I said, is that, okay, now that we are all adults and we're making appropriate Batman content, I don't see where that cartoon should ever have any influence on modern Batman storytelling.
Wait, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Did we get a donation when I?
We did. We got $50 from a Superman.
Oh, awesome! Oh, very fitting.
Yep. I think I know who that is, by the way.
So when they decided to neuter part of some anime TV shows for Western audiences.
Well, yeah, because you look at Robotech and a lot of the stuff that they brought over back in the day, they had to soften that because American censors would not let them put some of the stuff that was normal for kids in Japan. We were living a different lifestyle then, so a lot of that stuff got refined. And when you watch the uncut versions of it, it's bloody, and that's what their kids were watching. But see, in modern, in Japan in the 80s, when this was starting to get on the rise, they refused to sacrifice the content, though. They showed their kids this is what the story was. It's up to the parents to allow your kids to watch this, but we're not going to transform what the core of our story and our characters are to make it suitable for an audience that if you're not ready for it, you're not ready for it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You shouldn't transform something to make it ready for kids.
Why don't we do it now in the West? Like, why are we still trying to muzzle things and that? We should be allowing parents to be parents and not being
Well, here's the thing, Aaron. Here's the thing. It's not a modern problem anymore as much as it was in the 90s. Because as we've seen and the world has changed and we've gotten a little bit more, even killed and brutal as a society as some of the other nations that some of this content was coming from, we're not kids have access to everything now, so there really is no softening up for them. You can try to keep a kid from seeing something, but he has this device in his phone or his friend's phone or his computer to where they're going to see it anyway. So a lot of it's going back to like when I was a kid, to where our parents allowed us to watch this stuff, but they also disciplined us in the context of what we were watching. So it made us ready for it. We weren't influenced by the violence we saw on TV because we knew that's where it stayed and where it belonged. We're more like that as a society today, in my opinion. So you don't have to. So if you show a Batman cartoon, if you were to make Batman the animated series like today, it would be far more consistent with Batman than the stuff in the 90s. Same thing with X-Men. If you were making it today with today's kids, with what they've seen and what they've grown up with, you would be insulting them by doing anything different than showing them something as close and consistent with what the characters are.
It's like the censors in the 90s was pretty much dissing and attacking parents, saying, "Well, you're not good enough to parent your own kid. We're going to be parenting your kid for you." That's
the way it was in the 80s and 90s. That's what it was. Yep.
That's a friggin' insult. I'm sorry, but that's an insult.
I thought it was at the time because I was a grown man watching this. But here's the thing, though: the comics books that they were we were allowed to go into the comic book store and read these things, which were way tougher than that. But at those same kids couldn't sit down in front of a TV and watch that, which is okay. If you don't want to put the brutality that is Batman, the Joker, and some of these characters in a cartoon, I completely understand. Then don't make the cartoon. Make something else. Make something else that you don't have to defang. And even then, okay, you made it, you watched it, leave it there. I watched Adam West Batman when I was a kid, right? But I don't bring that into my expectations of what I want the next Batman movie to be. It's just at some point you leave the diapers back, in the crib.
It's like the studios and animators. It's like, well, you're not parent enough. We know what's best for your children, not you.
And they wanted to stay away. They want to stay away from controversy and things like that. Plus, it was advertisers too that were kind of scared. And like I said, it's a different world now. If you were to make Batman the animated series in 2025, you couldn't do what they did in 1992 because it wouldn't have been accepted now, which is just weird that it took us 25 some odd 30 years to get to that point that we were already at with the comic book readers in 1988 and 1990. So my personal opinion, guys, don't come at me because you all come at me about this. So
well,
that is my opinion. I'm not here to change your mind.
I'm kind of pissed off when it comes to anime, how they in the beginning they nuded everything, and that it wasn't really until like the very, very late 90s, early 2000s where they just decided to effort and we'll just show you everything. When it came to Sailor Moon, it was Sailor Uranus and I think Sailor Jupiter. They were in Japan they were a lesbian couple. While in the West,
Sailor Moon, Arata Doji, there's a lot of stuff that the kids were watching in Japan at ages 11 to 16 that when we would order, like I would order old VHSs and stuff back when we were trying to anime was first making its 90s push, and you had to order special versions of these things so that you didn't sell the wrong one on your shelf. What a difference 30 years makes, eh?
See, they were a lesbian couple in their in Japan, and once the TV show went to the West, and they decided to like dub it and that, they edited the shit out of it and made out that they were cousins instead. Oh yeah. Sailor Uranus and Sailor Neptune. They were very.
There's some stuff back there, man. Now look at it. It's like I said, it's just a different era. I like a lot of the modern DC stuff that they've come out with. A lot of the movies I've had fun with those because they are consistent with the characters. Superman is the only safe one for me because at no point during its animated run was Superman not consistent with the Superman I would pick up in a comic book. But this is coming from Comic Book Geek for 40 years, so. Everybody's going to have listen. If it's the option of you not being a fan of these characters and you being a fan of these characters, no matter how you got in, I'm okay with however. Same thing with Star Trek. If Lower Decks was your way into Star Trek, not my favorite, but welcome to the club. All right, guys, I gotta go. I will be right back. Hopefully, when I come back, we're at 1,000. Let's get to 1,000. That would be great. That would be progress today if we can get to 1,000. Awesome.
Good guys, if we can.
Yep, we're at 970. So I'll be right back. I'm not coming back until we're at 1,000. We'll never get it then because people are like, fuck that guy. I'll be right back.
Sammy, facts. I hate gatekeepers. Kira said, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. By the way, I was going to mention a second ago, I've seen other people, point this little Easter egg with Lex. You notice, when he kind of folds his arms on his hips, the way his vest and under his jacket, it kind of like forms the S shield shape. It's like that. Some people have been picking up on that in the last few years. I didn't see it until other people started pointing that out. So, but that's a pretty good
Hold on.
catch.
All right. I don't know if it's the same. I'm not a gatekeeper.
No,
Okay,
okay.
I want you here. It's just we're just going to have this old guy is going to have a philosophical difference of how we all got here. But you know what? The turkey's in the middle of the table. I don't care if you used MapQuest to get here, or you used the map, or you knew how to get to the house. You got here. I'm good with you. So, like I said, but yeah, it's just Oh yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, but people, like I said the other day, my people just were coming at me like, William hates happiness. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Whoa. These comic book characters. I'm like, seriously, I hate comic book characters? But yeah, so I get you, Snyder Quinn. I just wanted to make sure because a lot of new people, I've gotten a lot of new people who come on and they message me and they question me, and I have to explain it to them. I'm like, no, it's just I grew up in the '80s and we're kids.
That's got to be the most hilarious accusation I've ever heard in my life. As far as like fanboy gatekeeping, it's like you hate happiness.
Yeah. I hate. Somebody said in the chat, I hate fun. I'm like, dude, I roamed around Las Vegas with a Shazam shirt on, wearing wrestling belts, and going to wrestling events and watching Caped Crusaders on screen. I love fun. I wish I could go to more movies. I need to go see Working Man, but that's just not going to happen. Oh well.
I will see you guys. Isn't Las Vegas the most funnest place on earth?
Yeah. Yeah, of course, I mean, that term can have different meanings.
You got nightclubs, gambling. You got a whole lot of show business going on.
Oh, yeah. You got MMA out there. You definitely got pro wrestling. Yeah, this is good. This argument. It sounds like every 5 minutes on Twitter. Yeah, it's like you hate fun or you hate happiness. I almost kind of hope now. I want somebody like as much as because I've definitely accrued kind of a reputation for in a lot of my work. I write a lot about Snyderverse related stuff, and I'm kind of waiting for somebody to have somebody to troll me with you only like Snyder movies because you hate happiness. I almost want to get that accusation now because it's so absurd but so creative at the same time. Man, I was right now we're at the part Diana reading the MetaHuman files. Yeah. Big fanboy moment for me back in March 2016. I read the chat yeah, she is a Mega Swiper. The Gal Gadot absolutely is an Amazing Wonder Woman. I read the chat, and Aaron, I'll even ask you, what of these of the files here that Diana sees, which one was your favorite? As far as the different cameos. I think probably I like the Aquaman one the most here because just because I thought I just thought the reveal was so creative, showing him down by the wreck of the Titanic and.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think I like that one for sure.
When the Cyborg one here, that's even that's the one that's the most pertinent to to the next movie because it's it's a scene we see or we eventually saw in Cyborg's origin in Zack Snyder's Justice League. And the fact they thought they could reshoot this and nobody would notice in the theatrical cut of Justice League, it's my God. Just what a bunch of inept fools. I think Cyborg one's the coolest because I was like, what the hell is going on? Yeah. Well, you definitely the mother box, formulating his body and whatnot. I mean, you definitely could tell, okay, this is definitely going to play into Justice League. And still people had a problem with this. Seeing people don't mind 30 plus games. Yeah.
I like the mundane nature of the Flash that's going in there just to buy some milk, and it's this asshole, and you're like, oh shit.
Yeah.
You just have to put the milk down and He was just trying to buy himself some milk.
and one of the thing about it is like he does kind of like what the whole Peter Parker origin story is like. He lets the robber go and it ends up leading to Uncle Ben's death. So Barry did what Peter didn't, in that moment. Like he learned from Peter's mistakes. The guy that has long hair, clearly not me. Yep. Well, here I am.
And Ezra is a martial artist too.
Say again?
I said Ezra Miller is a martial artist too.
Yeah. Actually, quite a few of the cast, are like Ezra. For those, he spent some time in China actually learning kung fu and in prep for the Flash, and actually got pretty good. Gal Gadot, she has black belts in karate and Krav Maga. And then I understand that both Henry Cavill and Jason Momoa, they both have become involved in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I don't know if Ray Fisher has any martial arts experience, so I could tell you on there. And then who's that leave?
Ben Affleck.
Yeah. But
I think he's done a little bit of boxing.
yeah, well, he's had a couple roles. I mean, even though like Citrone like really kind of handles the fight scenes. But like Daredevil, he probably imagine he did a lot of training for that. And then they like The Accountant's probably a good example too. Like Ben actually doing some. I believe he did a Salat training for The Accountant movies.
And yes, boys and girls, boxing is a martial art.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. If I wanted it, you'd be dead already.
Oh, talk about Krav Maga.
Yeah.
I don't know whether you saw this video. This was like a week or two ago.
Yeah.
Of this woman, she was going to a woman's self-defense class.
Mm-hmm.
And she went into there thinking, oh, this is going to be good. And she found out that it was going to be Krav Maga.
Yeah.
And she was hysterical. She left and she was like, I can't learn this martial arts.
Why not?
Oh, because she's pro Pally.
Oh, really? That's
Yeah. She was having an hysterical attack.
Well, that's.
I can't look.
Oh man, like
Okay,
the Discord.
Do you want to leave?
Without giving any particular opinions, because we're not like a political show, but the discourse on the Middle East situation really needs to level off. Like people need to stop and that's one of the things I currently try. I train in multiple different disciplines right now. One of them is Krav Maga, and people gotta stop. It's
one look at you.
Yeah.
She would have cried.
I actually have a striping test for it coming up on Wednesday actually.
Oh.
I have two pre-tests I'm doing next week. I got one in Krav Maga on Wednesday, and then I got my second black belt pre-test in Tang Soo Do on Saturday. So, yeah, if you guys weren't aware, it's like I'm definitely I've been around in the martial arts world. So is Aaron, definitely. We talk about all the martial arts stuff here that William doesn't want us to, but we do it anyway because it's awesome.
Yeah, because it's like opening a book about living in the desert and then finding out the content, or swimming in a pool somewhere else. I mean,
speaking of fighting here, I just love this part. This the Batman fight, like punch, clang, right when the kryptonite wears off. I always got a good laugh from that. It's like right when it's not working anymore, like the punch and clang.
I don't care what anybody says. I like this Doomsday.
Oh, the version of Doomsday. Oh, yeah, because Aaron's a little bit ahead of us, guys. Yeah. Well, he's Think about it. He's literally radioactive. It's like he literally is like, yeah, he could take you out from like so many different ways. That's a good catch, Sammy. Actually, I can't believe I didn't pick up on that. The clang is because he's the Man of Steel. That's good. That is really good. As they claim, the comedy drums now.
Where are you guys at time wise?
Aaron's ahead. She's right at the Doomsday fight. I'm still at the Batman Superman fight.
Oh, where he just shot the gas?
Yep.
Okay. Where and what are you doing? Are you watching a different version?
Yeah, she's
On
watching
the theatrical.
Oh, okay.
Because there wasn't anything written on there that we were going to watch the Ultimate Edition on the thumbnail.
See the description.
Yeah, that's just the default
I'm
version
just
review
kidding.
as this came out.
So it's my fault.
It doesn't matter. It's fine.
Mm.
We've all seen this movie, so it's like,
Yeah,
you know what happens next. All right, where are we at donation wise? We're still at 970. Let's go to 1,000. 30 more bucks, guys. Woo! Come on.
Sammy, actually, you might appreciate this too. The whole like the Man of Steel, why the fist clangs when the gas wears off. Because I did an article for Fortress for like all we did the DCU marathon back for New Year's last year, and this didn't jump out at me about Man of Steel until like right at that time. But it's at the part when Clark is in the church talking to the priest and saying, I want to stop Zod, but I'm not sure I can trust humanity. And the priest tells him, well, like sometimes you have to take a leap of faith, and the trust part comes later. And then the next thing you see is like Superman floating above the military base. And I thought, oh, okay, a leap. And he takes a leap of faith. It's a leap into the air of faith. Yeah. And that took me 11 years. I didn't catch that for 11 years. That was very.
That's why I love Zack Snyder's films. You continually watch it and find new things to it.
Yep.
And it doesn't get bored.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I love the battle damage helmet. Reminds me of yeah. It's actually something I would have. I kind of like. I remember like thinking this is something that would have added a little bit to me in the first Bane fight in Dark Knight Rises when Bane punches Batman and he cracks the cowl, and then after he does the backbreaker on him, then he like peels like the one half of it off. I thought that could have made the fight a little bit more visceral if like the whole side of it was cracked and he kept fighting, because he's fighting like half his mask already off, because I thought that could like really drive the ideas like he just won't accept defeat. And so like, but with that, like they took that idea with this and like they crack open Batman's helmet and kind of show a little bit of a lot of the impact of fighting a tough customer of Superman. Oh yeah, well I mean that's also in like the first flight scene when he's leaping from across the Arctic before he can fully fly. I mean that I immediately picked up on. It's like, yeah, that's a reference to him originally leaping instead of flying. But yeah, it's like the leap of faith. 11 years after the movie, like, oh, wait a minute. I see what you did there, Zach. And here we are, of course, at the much heatedly debated Martha scene. I don't know, William.
Still stuns me that people didn't get this scene and didn't understand the brevity of this scene. I don't know. Maybe, like I said, at the time, I think people's minds were conditioned to go against anything that wasn't Marvel. That even if they did sit in front of this movie, they didn't give it a legitimate chance until years and years later. Because I can explain the same thing to people. I still get the Cro-Mags that are like, hey, Martha. But I more people I talk to, it's more of an understanding of what the scene meant. I mean, were you sitting in a theater watching the scene, or did you already have your mind made up about what that significance before you even felt it? So it's kind of sad, but
Well,
It's better now than it was back then.
Yeah, I feel like it's like people. I mean, you see the temperature on the discussion. Well, really of the whole movie, but definitely of this scene specifically, really kind of come down. Like people are starting to seem to get more like, even if they're not like fully on board necessarily with like what it's trying to convey, they're not. There's the snark is definitely kind of subsided, I think. So we'll take baby steps with that. You
know what I love seeing?
What's that?
New people this sitting down and watching it and doing reaction videos.
Yeah. Which you've seen a pretty fair amount of those lately, I've been noticing.
Oh, you see this like the scene where he dies, right?
Yep.
There's actually a Christian painting of them taking Jesus off the cross that's similar to this scene. I forgot what the painting's called, but it's a very iconic painting.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, but where they're like using the robe to lower him down, and where Batman, like it's similar to Batman using the cape to lower him down.
What was it called? The shroud?
Yeah, I can't.
Jesus was wrapped in.
Yeah, I can't tell you. I know the one you're talking about. I can't tell you the title.
What what were we talking about?
What was he talking about when we get to like the Superman death scene? There's it evokes obviously evokes the crucifixion, but it also invokes like specific like art that's been done of it. Like one in particular of Jesus being lowered from the cross is really kind of paralleled in Batman lowering a Superman down to Wonder Woman and Lois. So yeah, I know the one you're talking about, Aaron. In fact, I got you. I'm gonna Google that real quick and see if I can find the one we're talking about. And I gotta do it fast because we're getting to the raid. I mean the warehouse.
And you can see the in the big picture. You can see a couple of crosses. So Jesus was the one in the middle, and the one on his left, our right. That guy went to heaven with him.
Yeah, the repentant sinner and the unrepentant sinner.
Yeah, the repentant sinner, yeah.
And Zach kind of talked about that on Vera at one point where he said those two crosses were a little bit of foreshadowing for Batman and Lex, where it's like Batman, Batman was the repentant sinner and Lex was the unrepentant. Even though it's like, it's a little bit interesting though, because I mean, Lex did actually, from what we know about like kind of the future plans, he was actually going to aid in stopping Darkseid. So I guess there were two repentant sinners in Superman's case. Okay, and I got to put. I got to do something. And here we go. Oh, here it goes. I mean, I have seen this fight scene more times than I could possibly count. This was like.
All right, we just reached 990.
Oh, awesome! Who donated?
Let's see.
By the way, another thing that Citrone told Steve and Dice on BVS by the Men, he mentioned the suit, because again he's handling like the bulk of like the fight choreography here, because it's easier to double people in in superhero movies when you got like the suit and the mask and things like that. But he mentioned he said the suit isn't easy to move around in. I remember him saying that. I think like, well, you wouldn't know it from this part. I mean, the bat suit that's really clearly the most difficult to move in is the Keaton suit.
Eternity in Gaming. Thank you for the $20 donation, getting us.
Yes,
We're
thank you.
$10 away from breaking 1,000.
That's Lateef Crowder right now that Batman just put into the floor and punched in the face. Lateef is a well-known capoeira guy, and he's done a lot of work with he's worked with Tony Jaa, Scott Adkins, and Michael Jai White. So definitely sharing that.
For the majority who don't know who those people are, go ahead and Google them, I guess.
I really love that that knee he does like from the ground, that sideward. It's almost like a Muay Thai kind of technique.
I'm up to the funeral scene or the funeral scene.
Yeah, the two pair. And I'm actually, I'll talk about this a bit more when we get there. But you have the Superman coffin with the emblem on it, and of course we know like the plan, the outline of the 2 sequel plans that Batman was meant to sacrifice himself, and I'm adamant like we would see like a parallel funeral, like the Batman funeral. They would have a similar thing. It would have the coffin with the Bat emblem on it. And by the way, William, it's like the whole controversy over Batman using lethal force in this movie. I mean, this moment right here is right out of Dark. I mean, literally, it's like word for word out of Dark Knight Returns. It's like the whole "I'll kill her, I believe you."
Well, that's what I mean when you talk about it depends on where you're coming from as far as your history with Batman. Nobody who has followed through with Batman for as many for a certain era would ever say that. You had to have been influenced by something else for that to be in your mind, in my opinion.
God, I love the chemistry between Ben Affleck and Gal Gadot. They were really going for the whole Batman and Wonder Woman couple.
Yeah, well, and you see, there's a couple little hints to that in Zack Snyder when they reach out for the mountain.
Yeah, we just reached 1,000.
Awesome.
We're at $1,010. Let's see, forgot it. Doesn't tell me where. Hold on.
Why can't I'm trying to check in.
I'll leave that other screen up. I'll bring up the one.
Okay.
The donation screen because they got different screens now. It's all separated.
I got you.
It's weird, hard to explain, but it's kind of goofy. Campaigns and StreamYard doesn't help. Come on. Whoever did it did $30, so thank you. So let's see. Campaigns.
Autumn.
Yeah. I because you're at the funeral part. Yeah, I don't remember where I saw this, but I think I remember seeing the Asian girl there. That parent, I remember there was that was Autumn, or I heard that somewhere that was Autumn Snyder. I don't know if that's confirmed, but I remember hearing that. Yeah, that was Autumn making a cameo on BVS. Oh, and Aaron, Sammy just suggested. I think this is the one you're talking about. The Descent from the Cross.
Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, Peter Paul Rubens. So I'll pull that up in a second. And we're just getting to the, right now, just to the Doomsday fight here. And again, this is one area where I think like if they could go back and like do the marketing different, I think if they could, they probably would have kept Doomsday completely out of the marketing. And because just imagine like going into this movie and getting to this part of the movie, they would have fired that person if they would have done that. That would have been a horrible decision. I don't know. No,
I disagree with him being in the movie at all. But once he's in the movie like that, A, there's no way you're going to be able to hide that. And B, why would you? Why would you?
There were rumors. I think there were rumors like before the official reveal.
No, that would have just outright leaked. There would have been no way in hell to keep that secret. And once again, I would dismiss someone who did that. I'm like, you're big baddie like that. that fight scene, that's what drew a lot of people to the movie. That would have been malfeasance. That would have been horrible.
Well, and actually, before I go any further into that, I actually wrote a little bit about this on Comic Book, .com specifically recently. I was kind of comparing Doomsday and BVS to Doomsday and Superman and Lois, because one thing Superman and Lois kind of delved into, Zod is used to create Doomsday in this movie, and then Bizarro is used to create Doomsday and Superman and Lois. So one thing that the show did was it kind of it Doomsday regained his memory as Bizarro. Eventually, as anyone's seen the show, we tell you, and kind of regained his sentience and memory of who he was. And kind of that little moment right there where Doomsday, he looks up at the Superman statue in the back of Superman. That was something when I first saw this, I always kind of thought like that's a little kind of a, the movie keeps it ambiguous, I think, but the idea there, it's sort of to raise the question of like how much of Zod is still inside of that head. It's like how much does he remember? Does he remember anything at all? And if he does, like how much clarity does he have on it? And they keep it's intentionally kept vague in this movie. And then Superman and Lois went a lot more explicit where it said, no, he does eventually remember who he was. And there's neither approach is really like fundamentally better or worse, but it's just kind of like, I just kind of found that interesting that, we have two versions of Doomsday created from Kryptonian villains and two different properties that sort of treat, how much of his memory remains as in two different ways. Like one keeps it very much a question mark, and the other one just outright says no, he eventually gets his memory back. Okay, William, Sammy thinks Wonder Woman should have been in the trailer. I don't think you could have kept that.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think, you couldn't have kept that under wraps. I don't think you could have kept that under wraps.
Well, yeah, you could. Yeah, that some of that was the main draw. I mean, Wonder Woman being in this movie was big for this movie. I mean, granted, we're talking, 10 years later, but still.
But now,
when I saw it in the theater, I was decked out in Wonder Woman gear. I was ready to see her.
Wow.
Oh man. Oh, and now one thing I will say is like they did have to navigate this, and again, I think this is starting to kind of like recede as far as like it was one of the criticisms detractors had of it, but like once we knew Wonder Woman was in it, once we knew like Aquaman was going to make a cameo and the other Justice League members are going to make cameos, it also dealt with like a lot of the commentary of they're just shoving in characters to get to Justice League faster than Marvel did, and so that was kind of the trade-off they had to deal with by being upfront that Wonder Woman was going to be in it.
So I dressed up in having Wonder Woman t-shirt, Wonder Woman pants. I even had Wonder Woman earrings in.
No, you went all out. Born to destroy you. Yeah, I thought that was a really good way to like drop the Doomsday name. Actually, not just like I'm just gonna name this monster Doomsday. It's like he says your Doomsday, and that's where my thought had kind of gone to when I said like if they had omitted Doomsday from the marketing altogether, because again it's like my mind just I just can't help but think like what would the impact of that reveal have been if we had not known at all that Doomsday was going to be in this movie, and then it did reveal in the last 30 minutes. Here he is, your Doomsday.
Yeah, that would have been, like I said, oh wow, nah, that guy would have had to have been, no offense to pizza salesman, that if somebody would have kept that out of the trailer, they would have had to been slinging some pizzas for the rest of the that would have been bad. Thank you, Sammy and Eternity Gaming for the $20 respectively to get us at $1,010. But yeah, I don't think there's any way you could have or should have kept. You could have, because I mean, granted, once again, I disagree with him being in the movie. Period. I thought Metallo was a better decision, but hey, it's not my movie, so
And the other
go.
thing too, they also, I mean, this would have been different had the Justice League been released as planned the first go around, but But even then, it's like I remember like the trailers at the time where it had the Bruce's line about it's something more, something darker. So, but I still get the sense that like Warner Brothers under that management at the time, they probably, even if it had been like the movie Zach had made that was getting released initially, I still feel like they probably would have kept Darkseid under wraps, or would have attempted to anyway. And that's like as far as they would have gone marketing wise. It's just like, oh, I think it's something more, something darker. And like that's
that would have been okay if you would have dropped. I could have done that if your eventual journey would have ended with him. But to completely erase all traces of him, or as many traces as you could, that was just dumb.
Well, that's what they did. We got one name drop, and it's like it's not even like in context. It's like
and without him, none of this made any sense. Really.
Exactly, yeah.
And that's when I walked out of 2017. It just nothing made any sense.
Yeah, something was rotten in Denmark. By the way, this is also this is Patrick Wilson as the voice of the president over the intercom there. He, of course, portrayed Night Owl in Watchmen and later Orm in the Aquaman movies. Also, by the way, was anybody else here kind of as annoyed? Well, maybe not. Maybe annoyed isn't the right word, but I did kind of roll my eyes a little bit in the theater with during the Doomsday fight when it breaks out and they go through the city and then they go to the island and you keep hearing the news and the military guys say it's like, oh, they landed here, but don't worry, it's abandoned. There's nobody lives there, or the workday's over and everybody's gone home. Which is like,
they evacuated.
Well, yeah, but I mean, we know why they did that. I mean, we know why they felt the need to like emphasize the work. There was no civilian bystanders there because of the consternation over the destruction of Man of Steel. But yeah, I don't know if I'd say it. It didn't ruin the movie by any means for me, but I still remember being in the theater, kind of going like, okay, they had to placate certain people. Actually, now we're coming up to actually Wonder Woman dropping in. I remember actually being in the theater. I thought, like, when that figure drops down in front of the Batwing, I thought actually at first that was Superman because he had just been revived by the sun. So I thought, okay, he's flying in to stop to save Batman. So I thought it was Superman at first, and then we get a pretty awesome twist right in a second here. God, and that theme kicks in. It's like,
I mean, that explosion is over the top. By the way, but it's still
you
cool.
mean Doomsday goes supernova?
Yeah, no. When Superman grabs him and brings him into the building, and it's like,
when he knocks him into the kind of like,
it's like the Hiroshima.
Yeah. It's like I said, I had the same kind of thing in the theater. It's like, oh, it's uninhabited, or don't worry, everybody went home. It's the workday's over. So it's like, again, it didn't ruin the movie, but I kind of like, okay, we got outside people, or and we gotta get that controversy taken care of. She with you? I thought she was.
That trailer with that to me, that's what
Yeah, that definitely got me ready to see the Trinity together. And people say this movie has no jokes.
Yeah, just like I said, the only flaw that this movie has is this villain.
Sorry, you're dead wrong, William. The only flaw is those damn eggs. It's those fake eggs when Clark is cooking the eggs in the news report. That's the only. I don't know. I guess maybe they had like somebody who couldn't was out sick in the art department that day or something.
See, stuff like that I didn't notice.
Could it be a legal reason why that they couldn't use an actual real egg to cook?
Why they couldn't use what?
A real egg to cook.
I mean, it might maybe like an OSHA thing, where it's like, okay, we don't want like Henry to like burn his hand on the skillet or something on set. I don't know. Or like if it's a gas stove, like we can't run the risk of like sparking on fire. I don't know. Those are the only things I can think of. Yep, definitely. Yeah, I was definitely there. Yeah, I was all there for it, Sammy.
Yeah, and that trailer, I remember the pop that trailer got. Fucking movie.
Well, all the trailers. I mean, this movie had like 4 trailers before it came out, and every one of them like just hitting it like a completely different way.
But the first one that with her in it, that one changed the trajectory of that movie. That one really, there was a lot of people who don't like the movie or whatever, but they liked Wonder Woman in it, so it was like.
Well, it's the first time she's ever been on the big screen.
Yeah.
Everybody's been like fighting for her to be on the big screen for years.
Yeah. And guess who almost made a movie about her? He who shall not be named.
Have you ever read part of that script?
I have read some of it. Yeah,
it's freaking horrible.
Yeah. Yeah, we all do, Sammy. We all love Wonder Woman. And coming up here, we got of course, the Dark Knight Returns lightning shot. Batman dodging Doomsday.
Remember, it would have been around just after BVS, between BVS and Wonder Woman. They the UN decided to do like a special day for Wonder Woman.
Yeah, I think I do remember that.
Everybody was upset, saying, "Why this didn't go to a real woman?" That's like, oh, come on. It was something fun that the UN was doing for once.
Yeah.
People should have just relaxed and went with it. And it was really nice because they had Gal Gadot and Linda Carter there.
Yeah.
And they actually met for the first time at the UN.
Yeah, I think Patty. Cool. I think Patty Jenkins is also there for that too, wasn't she?
Yeah.
Patty's actually there when Gal got her star in the Hollywood Walk of Fame recently.
Yeah.
And they're ride or die, those two. It's like Patty's saying, "Yeah, we got something else we got in the works. So look forward to seeing what Patty and Gal are doing next." And
they're doing Cleopatra next.
Oh yeah, they have talked about that for a while. I mean, obviously, definitely want to see her, a little bit more as Wonder Woman, finish up that whole arc with the rest of the league. Yeah, okay, this was the moment. A Film Junkie said the same thing. Like when he turns over to her and says, "I love you," and then the piano starts. Like that was because even knowing Doomsday was going to be in the movie, I didn't think going in that they were actually going to do Death to Superman. And I remember Zach giving an interview like within a week of the movie coming out or something where he talked about he said he was surprised that a lot of people were surprised that Superman died because he was like, yeah, I put Doomsday in it. Of course I'm going to kill Superman. But yeah, when the music kicks in, it's like that's where I thought, oh man, I can't believe they're really doing this. And by the way, Wayne, we just got another donation.
I had a different feeling, and it wasn't one of that.
Well, you just say
so we're at
happiness.
100. We're at 1100. At 1100. What's that?
You just hate happiness.
No, I hate that storyline.
No,
and I didn't.
I'm
Yeah.
just taking that one complaint. Just
Oh yeah, I didn't need that. I didn't need that element here. Wonder Woman. Oops, hold on.
Yeah, who was the
I
donor?
can't find where it's doing the thing.
By the
Wonder Woman.
Oh,
Fought Masters from Other Worlds. Fought
Superman
Monsters
and
from
Wonder
Other Worlds before.
And by the way, there's something else. One
And there's
thing kind of-
Batman too. Batman and Wonder Woman both contributed $50.
We got the Trinity, yeah. Now, something that with the and maybe this contributed to it getting an R rating, that the Ultimate Edition kind of adds to Superman's death scene is the shot of him pushing the spear through Doomsday. It's a little bit lower because in the theatrical cut it's about like up here, and then in the Ultimate Edition it's about here. So what that means is you can see when he's putting the spear through Doomsday, you can actually see he's running his body through that bone spike. Like he's actually putting himself through a huge amount of pain, to finish off Doomsday.
I always thought it was a cussing because there's a lot of there's a I think they reached their F-bomb and S-bomb limit in this.
The theatrical cut doesn't have the F-bomb in it. So
yeah, but this one does. That's what makes it R proper.
Yeah. Well, you're allowed one for PG-13. You're allowed one F-bomb. You can get one in, which is, I mean, why, like Zack Snyder's Justice League that has 3, but even that I don't consider either of these like I don't consider them R movies in the sense that I wouldn't show them to like like an 11-year-old. I mean, they're definitely hard PG-13s. Don't get me wrong, but again, I've seen far worse, and I've seen far worse in other PG-13.
There's far worse in the first PG-13 movie released. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It read on. Yeah. So that's some bullshit. That's the first PG-13, and that's not a P. No, go back and watch that. That's an R movie in disguise. And yeah, Aaron, actually, to your point earlier about sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Well, I was going to pull this up real quick. Yeah, this is the kind of the painting of the crucifixion she was talking about earlier. The movie kind of evokes the descent from the cross. So yeah, this movie, Batman's lowering Superman by his cape. Anyway, yeah, that's the one you were talking about earlier. I think that's the one that Zach kind of evokes here. This is right here. This is probably my favorite Batman shot of all time, of him coming out of with the fire behind him, and coming out into the light. I mean, that's his arc in this movie. He's coming out of hell and into the light. Yeah, there's the 2 crosses. There's telephone poles, but there are crosses behind them. And now here's another one, William, with like this. Do you remember seeing this? I think it was like the Monday or the Tuesday after opening weekend, where the Steppenwolf scene was released online, and I remember just the reaction everybody had was like, "What the hell? Why did we not see this?" Yep. They got those 2 crosses. I mean, they're telephone poles, but they in the context they resemble crosses. Yeah. Yeah. Well, like in Zach, again, he had talked about on Vero, those 2, like the one cross is for Batman, the other one is for Lex, kind of representing their respective arcs in the whole story. But yeah, William, do you remember like kind of the response when the Steppenwolf scene, because that wasn't in the theatrical cut, and that got shown online. I mean, it was sanctioned by Warner Brothers. They released it online, I think the Monday or the Tuesday after the movie was released, and that just really struck a nerve for everybody. It's like, why was this not there?
Yeah. I never could figure out. I was still on that page trying to figure out what was the intentions were, because even though you could walk out of that movie realizing, okay, something's wrong here, but you didn't necessarily know what the intent was, and it was quite a while too.
Oh, Aaron got her Wonder
That's
Woman
our earrings.
that she wore.
You got pictures of when you did Wonder Woman? You have pictures of you going to Wonder Woman?
Oh, no.
Nah.
But that's the earrings that I wore, and it's official DC merch.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, Jack.
So DC makes
They're lush.
Oh, thank you very much.
And by the way, also we just passed a minute ago the scene of Perry White looking at the newspaper about Superman dies, and then he opens it up, and also the little snippet about Clark dying and Lex being arrested. Because I think it's pretty. It's not stated outright, but I think it's pretty clear in this movie. Perry knows. Perry definitely knows.
Like he is the editor in chief.
Yeah,
his eyes.
Yeah. I remember. I think it was at the watch party for BVS that was that Zach did on Vero, like the one where he teased the end. I think you should make a sequel to this. It was like 2 months before we got the Snyder Cut announcement. He had mentioned on there, at the funeral scene here. Everybody except for like Lois and Martha and Perry, pretty much everybody else. I think Deborah actually makes a little appearance there too, but pretty much everybody else there is a crew member, because they wanted to keep keep the Superman dying under wraps to the best of their ability. And while you stepped away, one thing I mentioned, Zach had talked about, like, within a week of the movie being released, that. And I even said, it's like, even with Doomsday present, I didn't think they were going to kill Superman going in.
Oh, I immediately, as soon as they put it, the only reason he was created was to do that.
Well, that's what Zach said in this one interview where he said he was surprised that so many people were surprised, and he said, yeah, it's like, I put Doomsday. His purpose, his function was he's the villain of the Death of Superman. So of course I'm going to kill Superman if I put him in a movie with him.
I was hoping for something else, obviously, but I gotta had a strong feeling that what I was going to get. Like I said, I've already expressed how much I hate that story and what it did to Superman, and just some of the habits that story put into comics. That, in my opinion, is one of the main things that led to comics in the mid '90s going the direction of that type of storyline in comics really didn't do anything long term for Superman. So yeah.
So I was saying earlier, guys, like, again, knowing Batman's arc and like the whole 5-part story, know that he sacrifices himself in the final battle with Doomsday or with Darkseid. I really feel like we definitely would get a parallel funeral scene where it's like we basically get this again, but it's with Batman, and like the coffin, you would have like the flag pulled down. It would be the Bat emblem this time. Yeah, I feel like that. We would.
That would have been kind of cool. I mean, like I said, we may get that in comic book form someday.
Well, I mean, again, it's like it's symmetry between the two of them, between their the two art. Like they both have given their lives to save the world. So, but I feel like just like visually, it would play out. It would be meant to be very evocative of the Superman funeral. It would be, again, like this right here. They're folding the flag and they pull it down, and we see the S shield. In the Batman funeral will be the same thing, but with the Bat emblem. And by the way, that guy William, that one guy there got the salute right.
Yeah, they actually got the salute. They got the placement right. The way he's holding the flag is right. See how he has his hand over it like that.
Yeah.
And when he turns, the gun salute is right.
Yeah. Again,
So what you're saying is Zack Snyder actually does his homework.
Well, either that or he hired a military consultant.
Yeah.
If they're not, dude, you buy me Starbucks and I'll help you out.
Well, it's never enough to like ruin a movie for me, but I get it's like 99% of the time they get it wrong. It amuses me more than because it's like, how hard is it to go from this to this?
Dude, you
what
buy
was
a
it,
guy, you buy a PFC lunch, and he'll give you everything you need.
what was it with the V shapes? There's the you have with the planes. They go to a V shape, and there was like a
The missing man formation.
Okay, missing what?
The missing man formation. So when it's a
Missing
V
information.
shape, and then one of them veers off, because that's
Oh, okay.
that's to signify that someone is missing.
Oh, okay.
There's all kinds of stuff you do for military protocol funerals, and it sucks because you have to rehearse that stuff, and so you're preparing for a funeral. And if you know somebody, you lost that person, now you got to prepare because there's certain customs and protocols that you do when you give. There's a missing man formation. If you are indoors, it's the roll call where there's like 6 or 7 of us that are named, and like say if you say Sergeant Powell, I would stand up. Everybody stands up until you get to the person who's been killed. And then nobody responds, and you just keep saying that person's name for 5 times, and then it's over. One of the most heartbreaking things I've ever been to when I was in the service was going to a military funeral, and the family is there, and you got the boots and you got the rifle sitting up on the stage with it. It's just like I don't wish that on anybody, man.
Well, and for this, I mean, like as Diana says, you know, they I mean, he's Superman gets a military funeral because like nobody knows who he is. So and she says that they don't know how to honor him other than as a soldier.
Well, he gets a military funeral because he defended the country. You don't have to be. It's a military funeral, but there's another word for it. Buried with honors is basically what it is, because a senator or a head of state who never, a senator or a congressman or somebody like that can be given one. What the fuck? Without that, I think you could be buried with honors. Most of the people I know, though, like, God damn it, have been part of the military, but I do think that you don't necessarily have to be buried with honor. You have to meet certain qualifications. Any of my military buddies that have had someone who's buried outside of that situation, please leave a comment. But I think that you can bury someone. You can't bury them at like Arlington or something like that, but you can bury them with the flag. It all depends. But I got to look up the rules because all the ones I've been a part of, the 2, have been military people. And I guess Superman would have been considered a combatant for the country. I don't know.
Yeah. One, and that's why I say like the Batman getting at the end of the story getting the same kind of funeral, because he does the same thing. He sacrifices himself in a war, against an alien invasion. So
plus, I think the president can just say do it, and that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know whether this is true or not, but the some movies they get a helping hand with the U.S. military, and they actually help fund a little bit if they have more control over the production of it.
Well, what'll happen is they'll make deals to where like Top Gun, you allow recruitment and all that in there, because both Top Gun movies did huge for recruiting.
Oh yeah.
So any movie that comes out with the military, that's in a positive light like that, the military will help out as far as that goes, and they may donate or they may pay some type of money or things like that. But generally it's for recruiting purposes, because the regulations don't really allow you to do certain things.
Would you think that this movie would have had more involvement with the military? Or...
Not necessarily. If it were military themed, yeah, it has to be generally a military. Top Gun military theme.
Oh, okay.
I think Man of Steel has a little bit more of a military presence in it too.
Yeah, they're all throughout that movie
because they're more directly involved.
Because I know, with some of the Transformers movies, it had military involvement.
Yeah, I remember. So Ding dong.
That's actually a very snazzy thing. Maybe Australia should adopt that.
All right, guys, we've made ground today. Obviously, we didn't get 20 grand. We weren't going to, but we've moved that number. I was tired of looking at the 970.
We can always do a one with these other movies like that kids one with the owl.
Yeah, I think that's the only one of Zach's that we haven't done a watch party for yet.
Well, that and Sucker Punch. Did we do Sucker Punch? I think we
Nope.
did Sucker Punch.
But yeah, we have done.
No, we haven't. So that's two least favorites we haven't done. Sorry, Zach.
I definitely
we've done both the
I definitely want to do that too,
the,
Sammy.
both 300s. So yeah, it's Sucker Punch and the owl.
By the way, the second 300.
I don't think we've done that one.
No, we
have.
But we did the first one.
No, we did that stupid ass parody. That's what.
Yeah, we did Brad's favorite.
And thank you, Aaron. Thank you, Aaron, for putting that better than like any of my my wonderful adoring audience ever could about calling it that stupid ass parody. That's probably a better title for the Meet the Spartans.
It's not even a good parody, by the way. It's not even a good movie. It's not good on any level.
Yeah.
It's just Meet the Spartans is bad. I would have gotten even if you'd have conned me to seeing that in the movie theater, I would have gotten up and left. I'd have been like, you know what, just keep
Yeah.
Here
we go, like dirt, fluttering off of the coffin here.
Who was the wise guy that made us watch that?
Clint.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because I mentioned these parody movies are total garbage, and he's like, "Oh, we got to do watch parties for him."
We raised a lot of money for charity, though. That's for sure.
Yeah, but it also came at the expense of my mental health. Oh, we got cheers to Cypher Center doing this. Much love to William, Brad, and Aaron, and everyone else. Even getting close to 20K is incredible, but I know we'll get there. Yes, we're gonna.
All right, thank you for the super chat. Yeah, and thank you for your help and all that too, because you played a big part in this entire thing. But we'll get there. Like I said, May 20th is more realistic than anything else. I actually will do a better job because, like I said, I've been so busy and planning other. I got literally a live wrestling event that we're about to have here on WrestleMania weekend, and then I'm going to a bunch of stuff. I'm covering. I should have been at WonderCon today, but I sent somebody else because thanks to San Diego Comic-Con for why did you approve me for WonderCon? Why not San Diego Comic-Con?
Well, they proved it's like because you told me about that. I remember thinking like my response of it. Okay, you apply for San Diego Comic-Con, you get the email back. You're approved for WonderCon. Did I ask for WonderCon?
and I know it's usually I think it's because it's my first time applying. I think next year we'll get in. I have other means of getting us in, but I was like, you approved me for WonderCon. So if I wanted to go to WonderCon, I could have, but I'm busy. I think somebody else. As a matter of fact, that guy will that'll be part of this. Well, one of our shows is the person Scott that I sent down there. He's having a ball down there. I just couldn't do WonderCon, but I'm too packed right now. But I will be at Comic-Con. I don't know if I'm going to do Hall H this year. I know it's big this year, but man, we sacrificed a day and a half of Comic-Con going around getting autographs. I got to make a decision on whether I want to do Hall H this year.
There could be nothing there this year.
Well, Fantastic Four is going to be big, but that's a different Hall H. I know James Gunn will be there, but Superman will already be out, so they'll be there announcing other things. But I just don't know if I want to sacrifice. You're only there for 4 days, including preview nights. You're only there for 4 days, and there's a lot going on. I did it. I did it the last 2 years. The post-strike year, I just walked in. This last year was like I said, that was its own movie. Someone should play me in a movie with what I went through last year.
And I mean, I ran to that when we went to TampaCon, where we, my friend Mike and I, it's like we were bouncing back and forth from different things going on. It's like we missed the Carrie Fisher panel because
she passed away
the following year. Yeah, it's like I'll never. It's like I'll kick myself in the ass every time I think about that.
And she was only 60 something, and it wasn't like she was anywhere near. I mean, she had other issues obviously that caused her death. But like when it's like Stan Lee and Ric Flair and Captain Kirk, people like that. I'm like, dude, I don't know how long you guys are going to be around. I need to get your autographs, and I need to see you now. Like Captain, my bucket list, meeting William Shatner last year, that's a bucket list. I needed to, to get that picture. Getting Ric Flair's belt signed this next month is key for me. I don't care how long I got to wait. Slick Rick, you're signing this belt. Damn it. And then I can frame it. All right, guys. Thanks for everything. Thanks for the donations. Thanks for the support. It doesn't end here. Wow, 333 people are watching the stream right now. I just looked at that right now. It just blew me away. Wow. Thanks for everybody who spread that and made it happen. What I'm going to do.
Thank you, Sammy, for sharing it, by the way. Sammy shared it. I think probably helped with the donations we got today.
Thank you, Sammy.
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead and leave the stream going for a little bit. For those of you latecomers, because we just jumped up to 330, 334. I will be right back, but you guys go ahead and just talk about the movie, talk about BBS, talk about what it meant to you guys, and then just take some chats or people from the chat, and then talk about that. Because like I said, we just jumped to 334, so I don't want you just to show up late and have the opportunity to donate, and then here we go, we're gone. So I'll be right back because I got some customers. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So Aaron, what do you think about the raid?
Pretty good.
That is not what I.
You can't set,
He came in
can't
just for a
set me up.
split second.
You can't set me up like that. Just expect me not to take it, man. Okay, but I guess that was of course we just wrapped up that movie, Superman. That's one of the big takeaways for me. It's like 9 years, and it feels like it's been 3 days. I tweeted that out like on the 25th. It's like, yeah, it feels just the longevity that it's had, and I mean, of course, kind of like the whole crazy, unprecedented journey surrounding it, and it's follow-up movie. But yeah, 9 years. It's in. I think about so much. It's like how much has changed in my life. During that time frame. Like career-wise, like personal life-wise. I mean, and meeting people. People I'm streaming with right now that I would never have known otherwise, and that includes.
So wild that it's been so long. Feels like it was like yesterday.
Yeah. Oh God, I still, and this actually kind of this kind of plays in what we were talking about last night with or the night before, whatever it was, with A Working Man coming out. Because I saw this again. There was you were not going to keep me away from something like that BBS on the Thursday night. It's like I was going one way or another. I was going to find the time. And I mean, at the time, I was a much less busy individual, so I, definitely had, was more capable, and plus also, the landscape. It was the pre-COVID world, so it was a lot different, the theatrical landscape. But if I remember correctly, I think the show time I went to was like 6. I think it was like 6 o'clock, March 24th, 2016. And I even met up with my friends that I saw it with, because I saw it with Ashley, I saw it with Mike, I saw it with Khalil. I don't think I mentioned Khalil on here before. Those Mike and Khalil guys I did karate with in college, and so we all saw it together. We got there like an hour early, so it was legit. Like it stuff like Seasons of Japan, like got some dinner before it started. So it was like a real that was like a good probably third or so of my day. First time I saw it, it was devoted to be that, and it wasn't even like the full movie. Ultimately, it was still a half hour. It wasn't there, but yeah, that was my my night with that. And Aaron, as we learned, was repping Wonder Woman that night. Did you have a lasso with you for that?
Oh no, it was like my I got these official Wonder Woman sweatpants.
Yeah.
And it was just wearing just a normal Wonder Woman t-shirt with like earrings in it.
Yep.
So that's what my getup was. I was going with my some of my old uni friends.
Yeah.
And we had a dinner. We pretty much had a dinner and a show.
So you pretty much did the same thing I did.
Yeah, we went out for Thai.
Oh, okay. Wait. Okay, so let's back this up here, guys. Okay, so Brad and Aaron, again, March 24th. Okay, it's like we get there an hour early. We get Asian food beforehand. We're going with friends from college. It's like, do we even need to take a DNA test anymore?
That's you know what, that's freaky.
Yes, no,
That is
really,
freaky.
that's like it. Yeah, and this all came about through it's like me here on the Sci-Fi Center, and of course, yeah, the discourse around it once the movie came out, yeah, wasn't as much fun as we would have liked, but I mean, I think it's kind of gotten it's gotten a lot more. It's leveled off, and it's definitely gotten less acidic and a lot more favorable in the 9-year century. Again, it's like it feels like it's been 3 days. I just can't.
Glad to have you.
Yeah.
What's that? What were you?
Well, I was mentioning it's like this movie came out 9 years ago, and it feels like it came out 3 days ago. I mean, that's how much it's remained just seeped into the people's minds since it came out.
And I try to remember it more for the positive than anything else, because this is the one that started a lot of the fights and a lot of the regrettability and a lot of the perception that people were never able to truly enjoy. I feel that a lot of people, because of the MCU, no fault of theirs, but because of fans' minds weren't fully developed as far as the comic book movie landscape goes, that they couldn't comprehend different forms of storytelling and appreciate different paths that you could take to get to goals. They weren't there in 2012, 2013, 2014. And it took them till, to be honest with you, after Endgame to truly appreciate these movies when they came around, because there was a gap in where a lot of the big heavy hitters weren't there. And instead you get to look back on retrospect at some of the stuff. Also, I think streaming has helped. Streaming is
yeah. Hey, William, you went quiet. William, something happened to your mic. You went quiet there, man. Hold on, I'm going to mute you and then turn you back on real quick. Okay.
How about now?
Yeah, you're good, man.
Okay, now it came out a little bit. But no, I think because of streaming, if you didn't get a chance to see these movies when you should have, they're on streaming now. You can go watch them. You can go watch them in bulk. You can go right from one to the other. You can actually go ahead and watch Man of Steel and go all the way through the Justice League if you want to, and you get the appreciation that you already had, and you do it without your pack of your goofball friends, and the pack mentality that said, "Oh well, if you're not going to watch this, because that's what it was back in the early 20 teens. It was a pack mentality and pile-on mentality when it came to movies one way or another. You just went with the crowd. When you're sitting by yourself in your house with your remote, you can appreciate it, and you only have yourself to be accountable for it. So I think streaming
I think also, that like once the Snyder Cut was released, because you could definitely sense a bit of a sea change with the kind of the reception of Man of Steel and particularly BVS. So you notice like a lot more people who were not as positive about those initially once they saw Justice League. It kind of gave a little bit of like a retroactive, like, okay, I kind of appreciate these more now. Even if they're not like as enthusiastic necessarily as a lot of us are. It's like there was definitely, I think, a bit of a retroactive sort of sort of reappraisal for them. And it's still ongoing. It's like you can still kind of sense that a lot of Zach's filmography, it has kind of, you look over like like things like Sucker Punch or Watchmen or again with his Man of Steel through BVS and CSGL. A lot of it's like it tends to get more appreciated the further it kind of gets away from its initial debut. And now again, the fact that you're dealing with like characters like Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. People get obviously, there's a people get very precious about those in terms of the kind of sort of baked in perception they have of all of them. But once we've had time to sort of the temperature to cool down, and like you said, also with in the streaming age and the post Endgame age, it's people have been able to sort of kind of take themselves out of like the pack mentality and say it's like, okay, it's like I kind of see more what these are going for now.
Also, there's one more important aspect of it to the people's willingness to accept these movies
and it has to do with things like Invincible and The Boys, because you're more conditioned now to a hero being portrayed anywhere near that, to whereas prior to that you would not have been. Since in the interim, since these movies came out from Snyder, you've had an entire culture that's built around a Homelander, which is widely accepted. So I think people are starting to look at the fact that there are different ways to tell a story other than, and you can perceive these characters differently. They won't say it out loud in many cases. They won't say it in their packs and their herds that they run into when they're talking about these movies, but they don't really need to. You can look at the viewership of some of these things. You can look at the fact that Warner Brothers, even no matter what version of Warner Brothers we're talking about, they continue to show these movies on national TV. And the only way you continue to do that is because you're getting ad revenue, which means people are watching. Even though people, the much maligned Justice League 2017, it doesn't matter how we feel about it. It's the fact that it's still people watching it. And those people now have access to HBO Max. They have access to everything else, physical media. They can take that ball and run it to Zack Snyder's Justice League and any other movie that they can. But it's a lot easier to welcome somebody in 2025 than it was in 2013 and 2016, which is unfortunate because you lost a lot of time. You could have been enjoying these movies for what they were. Instead, you were in that haze. And then, but you know what? If you're still around, still alive, it's never going to be too late for you. Just give it a try. And that's all I've ever really asked for people when it comes to these movies. If you watch it and you don't like it, that's one thing. But the prevailing mental state back then is that they weren't going to give it a shot at all. We were promoting all these movies, every one of the DCU movies we promoted here at the center, and you could feel with each one that the fact that before this movie even came out or was done in production, you already had the people with their shovels ready for it. I think that's different now. I think some of those people put their shovels down because they've been exposed to other things that, be honest with you, have been influenced, by some of the stuff that they said they would never go for. So I'm happy we're in a different place right now. Hopefully, like I said, the last list thing on the bucket list is to find it, for me, the resolution of the Dark Side arc. Anything else is a bonus, but I really want to see what happens there, and I don't care what form I get it in. All right, so I have my preferred form.
Well, I said
the ending, whatever form you give me, the resolution in is where I'll take it.
Well, and I was about to make a comment too when you were talking about Comic-Con. It's like, obviously, I'm sure James Gunn has plans for that in some form or fashion. Even though they're denying anything presently, it's like, I mean, yeah, they might still be getting those ducks in a row, but I mean, it's like, you just can't miss that opportunity. You just having a new DC movie coming out, but it's like, imagine if like he decides to like do what he did with the picture with Zach. It's like, oh, I want to bring him on stage now. It's like just troll you guys even more.
I would not. I would wait. Simple because you're not going to get anything in our direction from James Gunn until he gets something to work with as far as credibility goes. So I wouldn't do I would do this. I wouldn't do anything with Zack Snyder picture wise until Superman is out, until we're headed into Lanterns, because now it means something. Now it's like, okay, now I got a guy who's got a hit movie and a hit TV show. He's not going to have the execs over his shoulder in that manner anymore.
He's not going to have just the 4-year contract.
Yeah, once Superman, if Superman does what I think it should do and it satisfies them, and I think anywhere between the 600 and the 700, between 450 floor, 750, 650, 750 ceiling, anywhere in between that, I think is great. But if they're happy with it, and then we turn around and we have numbers from Lanterns, and Lanterns does what the shows on Sunday night do. If it's a Sunday night show, it better be a Sunday night show. If Lanterns does what every Sunday night show has done in HBO, then you're going to have, now you come back and say, let's start exploring these other things, because they're going to leave you alone. They're going to leave the table of worry, and they're going to go into the room of counting their money. That's what they're going to do. They're going to be, okay, we got this guy. He knows what he's doing. We don't. We're going to go over here. And that's going to give him a lot more freedom to do a lot of crazy shit. And I think James Gunn, if he's successful, is going to do just that, crazy shit. And some of it I'm not going to like. Some of it I'm going to love. But he's got to I would wait until Superman is some type of hit, and then Lanterns is out there, and we were talking about DC in a positive way, and then you bring him out with that, and now it means something because it's not just what if, it's maybe there's money here. So I wouldn't be. I mean, I understand why people are. I understand who are. I think we're going to get that. I think we're going to get the Batman too. I think a lot of that too is Matt Reeves just takes a long time too, and plus there's other things happening right now, and other people involved in things, and But yeah, I think it should have been out already. But I don't think it's in as much danger as a lot of people think, though. But hey, I hope I'm right about that. Because like I said, but it has been a while. But then again, I could say the same thing about sometimes movies just take forever. Spider-Man 4. I mean, Spider-Man No Way Home made $1.2 billion. So it's just they're gonna make Spider-Man 4 when they're ready. And that's sometimes these guys do things not on fans' time, when their time. Blade's another one. Blade is not going to get made, done, or touched until Kevin Feige is ready for it. And that's the right answer, because you don't want something that's just forced in there. You know what I mean?
We're about to get an Accountant sequel 9 years later too.
Yeah, and I never thought that was going to happen.
I didn't think so either. I
thought
I like the Accountant a lot, but
it didn't. The Accountant, it wasn't a bomb by any means. It wasn't a bomb. It just didn't make a lot of money.
Yeah, it did good, but it didn't light the world on fire.
It didn't make. Let's go right into the next one type of money. But I enjoyed that movie. I thought it was criminally underperformed at the box office. I didn't think a lot of people tell me, you should go see these type of movies, and when they make these movies, you guys don't go see them. So that's really hard on that argument there. But I hope more people see it now. They can see the Count One on streaming. But yeah, when it comes to these things, we're waiting. We're like, why isn't it happening? Why isn't it happening? But at the same time, we got guys that are sitting in front of all this, and they have their timetable, they have their goals. I think the Batman's going to come out. I wish it had been out already, but I think the Batman's going to come out. Like I said, and same thing with Blade. When they're ready to put Blade on the screen, that's going to be the right time to do it. No sooner, no later. And I think they've done a better job when it comes to the MCU at not committing to things that they know that they're not going to do anything anytime soon. So because all that does is get people like, well, wait a minute, you announced this back in so-and-so, and really an announcement to those guys, there's a difference between an announcement to fans and committing money and committing resources and getting investors and doing a script. And if none of those things have happened, but at the time of an announcement, you may have years. You may have years to like what they did with Avengers the other day. They're in production with Avengers. The Avengers Doomsday is in production. And that's how Marvel does it these days. They don't just give you a whole screen of shit. And then they're like, 2 years later, you're pared down and only 3 or 4 of those things happen. DC was horrible about that. They'd have a whole screen of things, and then none of them would happen. And then not only would they not happen, you didn't even have the heavy hitters out there to even keep things afloat. Well, at least with Marvel, at one point, you had the heavy hitters out there. Superman was in witness protection program for 5 years. So yeah, it's I wouldn't be too worried about the Batman. Yeah, I think Doomsday is going to be a lot of fun, but it's one of those movies that I just have to be like, okay, I understand what I'm going for. There's like 1,000 people in this character. Captain Charisma also, they should have would have made Batman censored because he didn't have the origin story for a DCU movie. I think that's in response to something. Are you worried about the Batman movie being released, or are you worried about the content of the Batman movie? Not sure. All right, guys, we have 341 people currently watching our stream on all of our platforms. Please like, subscribe. Also, like I said, we are at for this particular campaign, we are at 1,110. The overall campaign is it's at like 16, 17 something. Hold on. Damn it, Tiltify. Whatever. We're not at 20 grand yet. We're not at 20 grand. Let's see if you like that one. So, all right. I think this is a good place to wrap it up because I'm hungry.
And don't forget to follow the Silver Showdown on Blue Sky.
Yes, Blue Sky. I finally
Blue
Blue
Sky's
Sky in the description. I hadn't had it in before. So Blue Sky is in the description. Also, for those of you watching now, come back this evening. We're going to have our Saturday night show. We are going to be going over Ultimate Martian Manhunter #1. The one of the best episode or issue of Absolute Wonder Woman, which is #6. We were going to go over Batman Hush part 1 and part 2 for a little bit. So we're going to have a scramble of what else do I have on the docket? Because I've been planning this show for a week. Sometimes I just pull a show out of my ass, but this one actually, because sometimes the moment hits me. All right, so
Why not?
we'll be talking. Let's see. Oh, we are going to be talking the 20th anniversary of Star Wars Episode 3, which is one of my favorite Star Wars movies. We are going to be talking a little bit about BBS, maybe raising a little bit more money, but how it changed filmmaking. No grievances. Don't bring the grievances in there, but we're just going to talk about the movie for a little bit. Martian Manhunter, Absolute Wonder Woman, Hush, part 1 and 2. We'll actually go over both of those real quick as a recommendation. Haven't decided on a movie topic yet, but those are the main baselines that we're going to have in our streamlined show tonight. So for those 341 people watching right now, tune in then. I'm going to remove Aaron real quick so that you can see youtube.com/@the-sci-fi center. That's where you want to join us. I'm thankful for you watching us on Twitter, but we're building our platform on YouTube, and that's where the views really help us more than anything. So if you can go ahead and do that. And anybody got any last words before we take our break until tonight?
Yes, it is, Sammy. Probably good.
Yeah, absolutely. We're going to talk about today, and like I said, the art. They had a substitute artist in the episode or issue 6, and I want this artist back because this artist really did a great job, and the story was kind of cool. The story, if you're in the Greek mythology, this issue is for you. This issue is for you. This is the most Greek mythological episode. I keep saying episode. I can say episode. It doesn't matter. It's the one that's tied more to the Greek mythology than any of the previous ones. It's not just mentioned. You actually see gods and other deities in here, and it's kind of cool.
Whoa.
So, kind of misogynistic too, by the way, in my opinion. But you'll see why. All right, guys. 342. Hit the like, subscribe. Also, donate. Spread the word if you can. And we will see you 8-ish, maybe, depends on what's going on. When I start the show tonight, it's going to depend on how many customers I get, because we got a lot of people in this parking lot right now, and I'm going to take advantage of that. So we'll see you tonight between 9 and 2, somewhere between 8 and 10. How about that? There you go. Bye.
There it goes.